Good morning, traders. We're in a fast market as the market's moving all around. And we got a lot of news to talk about as Trump is all over the headlines. We'll talk about it. And then, of course, don't miss it today as we continue to watch us build and test the new strategy. Myself, Money Mitch here, going after a strategy that we've talked about and now combining it with a strategy that we heard earlier this week. One of the things that I've been wanting to do is make a little bit of a change up, right? Try to adjust a little bit here. And we're going to do that live right here in front of you. I think there can't be no better way than to test a new strategy right here. So it's like always, guys, hit the like button. We'll talk all about it. We'll get to the playbook. But right now, the markets are moving down a little bit here. I don't know if we got some news right now, but we did get some volume to come in here. Maybe it's just somebody kind of taking some gains here. But we did jump overnight as we start to push here towards this resistance right here from, of course, Friday's the 2nd of 568.38. That's a big watch right there, guys. Can we break that level and just continue going higher? Of course, recently we pulled back to the 9 EMA and couldn't even make it back here towards kind of that 550. At some point, I expect that to come back down into that spot, though. Where is that? That's the anchored VWAP from the top, right? We'll see what happens if we get back towards that spot. But the SPY getting some lift today, and we'll talk all about it on the Sunrise Report, of course. We got a lot to get into on the Sunrise Report. We can get into all the action that's going on in the markets. We got a lot of earnings reports that are out today. So we'll get to that action. And, of course, the playbook. The playbook showing some names, and I have a really good watch list to show you guys today. I've been trying more and more to kind of give you guys some extra goodies here. And look at this, guys. Ooh, it's coming. It's coming. We'll talk all about it after the playbook. Let's first get right into things. And, man, I'm seeing these quantum names hot. So that just gives you a little bit of some insight about what we're going to talk about right now on today's playbook. All right, guys. So quantum stocks showing back up on the scanners as QBTS had earnings this morning and it was jumping, and I was watching it down here at the $8 spot. I almost felt like buying it. I just didn't want to do it off the earnings report. Of course, you're not supposed to be trading it off of that. So I'll wait for the open, but this is actually sparking all the quantum names to get hot. IonQ also reporting, and that one did good on its report. So we'll talk a little bit more about its report, but yes, now you're starting to see these names start to get hot again, and they hung around enough for them to go ahead and get the lift again. So I'm watching to see what happens to these names like QUBT, like IonQ, like Rigetti, right? This is the day where I think they could get the lift. Of course, Rigetti also coming out with earnings, doing pretty well this morning, up there to $10. Was looking at this one early on towards the 960s. Thought it could get to 10, and there it is, right there towards 10. So we'll look for a little bit of a pullback. But the quantum names are hot and on the radar. We'll talk about some more action. Keep them watch out there, guys. It's going to be an exciting day indeed, guys. I can feel it. The trading action is hot, hot, hot. We'll take a look at ARM, and I'll be looking to see if this could do a little bit reversal. Can it come back into the 110 and then actually just start driving back on the day? I think it's very important to talk about what Trump was talking about yesterday as he pulled off a Biden administration AI chip restriction and is adjusting the language, essentially going to make it easier. But what is this really showing me? And I think that that's the important thing. It's not what you tell me, it's what are you showing me? Right? So what you're showing me is that you're starting to change your stance on China's AI dominance. So if you're willing to accept that China continues in the AI race, well, then you might be willing to accept some tariff adjustments. So I think this is actually causing and sparking some positive actions here, some bullish reactions, and we'll take a look to see what happens. So with that being said, I say take a look to see what happens on ARM. Take a look to happens in NVIDIA today. AMD, another big name, right? And then take a look at one that I have on my watch list, KLAC. Really nice looking chart. I love the daily chart on this. Earnings came out a couple of days ago. Really nice chart that it could start to push into. I think this is one that you keep on the radar. It is a $700 stock, but this could spark other semiconductor equipment stocks. So you could keep a watch, even like an AMAT, right? We could see this start to get the lift, right? We could go to Micron and see what happens to Marvell and names like that. But we'll also be watching like Lam Research and things like that. So keep your eyes on the semiconductors today. I think this is something that you got to keep an eye out for, guys. So let's keep going. We'll get out of that ARM. And last one I wanted to bring up here is Snow. So I've been talking about how I've been taking a look at these cybersecurity names, but there's really three names here that I take a look at. Snow is one of them. CrowdStrike is the other. And the real kind of pushing right now stock is Zscaler. Of course, we can take a look at kind of the best of breed like PanW. I do think that this could get hot and go right back to 200. But that's not a lot on the upside. I think we have more upside on the ones that are breaking out and could have higher move to the left-hand side, right? The highs. So Zscaler, really nice move here. What I would like here is that the breakout was really right here. It was the break above 200. But at some point, I could expect maybe a pullback to the 9 EMA, giving me the opportunity to get after this name. We'll see what happens there on Zscaler and other names here in the cybersecurity space. Of course, we got to continue to watch also to see if we could get the strategy that we talk about, right? The strategy that we're working on. The 1 hour support test with a potential undercut of early lows followed by a reclaim of VWAP. That's really the important part, is that reclaiming a VWAP and then risking off the lows. This is essentially a way that I can swing trade and day trade at the same time. I like how Michael stated it yesterday, and I'm going to continue working on it, guys. The real key is going to be how can I maybe code this right? So I'll be working with Michael here. I got something I want to tell him here live in front of all you guys coming up in a little bit. All right, guys, let's take a look around out there. Let's take a look to see what we can find. Let's get out of the playbook. We'll get to the sunrise report. Lots to talk about on the tape today. You guys out there, throw something up in the chat. Hit the like button. We're going to get into, of course, the headlines, and then, of course, to see what's moving out there. Pinky's up out there today. It's one of those days where you got to get ready to trade. Gas pedals on today. I'm ready to trade. The question is, are you? All right, traders, let's keep things going. We'll take a look around out there and let's get to the action here as we get to the sunrise report, of course. This is where we give you guys all the action that's going on and why stocks are moving in the first place. Let's get to that action, right? Of course, we'll start off with, of course, market futures rising on the US and UK trade deal news, as we'll continue to watch to see what exactly comes out of the deal. But we got more information that came out, right? And we got announced a landmark trade deal with the United Kingdom that should be announced at 10 a.m. today, right? And so we'll see what happens, as Trump called it a full and comprehensive agreement that would strengthen the transatlantic ties. A press conference is scheduled at 10 a.m. And this is the first major trade deal announced since the U.S. imposed the reciprocal tariffs, right? And so we'll see what happens here, as, of course, Trump will be talking at 10 a.m. How will the markets react? Something to keep an eye out for. And then, of course, what I talked about was the other major story that I think everyone needs to have their eyes open for right now, which is the AI chip rally. And tech stocks are leading in the pre-market gains after Trump administration revealed it would rescind a Biden-era AI chip restriction. And I love how they're stating it, that it was the Biden era. Right. Well, the truth is they were going to go ahead and go on with this restriction, but they're pulling it back, and they're using the Biden name as a way of pulling it back. They're also talking about the rollback of the AI diffusion rule is seen as a big win for chip makers. And why did this happen? Well, you guys heard from NVIDIA recent comments, right, that were pretty much that if they were going to be taken out of China because of these AI chips restrictions, that would really hurt them. AMD saying the same thing. Intel also saying the same thing. So those three are really getting a relief move off of this. And the Commerce Department saying that we will replace it with a rule that ensures American AI dominance. Really? It's actually the opposite. This is not going to go ahead and ensure AI dominance. This is actually a move that helps China. And I think it has a move that tells us more and more that they're willing to work with China, even if that means that China continues being let's say, a secondary power behind us, right? That was the whole thing, right? Were we really going to be that tough on China that we wanted to ruin China? Well, I'm starting to see that Trump is willing to adjust there. If it means that we can continue going higher, he doesn't really care that China will get a little bit of these AI chips. And that's an important news there, guys. All right, we'll continue going. We'll go to the Fed conversation as the Fed reserves hold rates steady. The Fed kept interest rates unchanged at 4.25 and 4.5%, citing the economic uncertainty around trade and inflation. Powell stating that the economy is in solid shape, but warned of possible stagflation due to tariffs. If this would happen, that's the complete bearish side of the story, right? And so Powell keeps giving us this bearish side of the story. Trump keeps giving us this bullish side of the story. Which one will play out? All things to kind of be looking at. And now if you look at the CME Fed Watch tools and the way that you take a look at the Fed fund futures, you'll see that the rate cut expectations have been essentially pushed out to July. And this makes more sense to me because on July, the 90-day tariff pause will be running out. And if the 90 days tariff pause run out, what will happen to the tariffs at that point? Will they just go back online and tariff play and Trump play hardball? Or will it actually cause some change of mind? Will they push it back further? If they do, don't expect any rate cuts anytime soon. All right, of course, and that included more conversation about the GDP and jobs steady. So pretty much he didn't see anything bad there. Unemployment at 4.2, despite slowing growth, strong labor market gave the Fed some cushion. So that's how they feel on this. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's move over now towards intraday stock action. Let's go to the stocks here. Let's take a look at Carvana as the first stock that had one of the earnings that is kind of reversing right back to the upside here, guys. First action was down, and it's back up to 274. And this is one of my best calls of the year, guys. You guys know I've been calling used car sales as one of the areas that you could see some strength. And the reason why I was so negative towards Tesla, towards GM, towards Ford, and all the other automakers. So Carvana coming in here with an EPS of $1.51 versus 67-cent estimate. Revenues at $4.23 billion versus a $3.98 billion estimate. Shares at 4.75. Record sales here and aggressive growth guidance here. We'll see what happens here on Carvana. Looking good here, guys. The guidance wasn't a big push, but it did show how this company is continuing to kick it out the waters. Another thing to kind of note is that you're starting to see used cars, actually the value go higher. This is a warning sign, but another good thing that could come to Carvana, because if the supply in used cars comes down because no one wants to buy the new cars, well, then what happens? Used cars prices start to spike. And if used cars start to spike, well, that actually gives Carvana a lift because all their assets that they own are essentially appreciating instead of depreciation, which is what normally happens to used vehicles. We'll see what happens there in Carvana. Can it push higher? And will this spark a move in other names like AutoNation, like KMX? KMX has been one that has disappointed me and hasn't gone anywhere. Well, we'll see. Can it start to get the move? Find out, guys. Find out. All right, let's move out of course, Carvana. Let's go to Shopify as one of the disaster earnings reports on the day. But really, I don't know, man. I think this has more to do with people kind of scared of what's going on in, of course, the tariff situation with China. Of course, Shopify has a lot of smaller businesses that are going to be hit with the tariffs. And I think that this is what's showing up here. This is more about a matter of what's to come than what is actually on this report. Let's talk about the report itself, as Shopify missed here at 25 cents versus a 26-cent estimate. The revenues actually beat. The guidance was soft. So that's what happened here. And the guidance is soft. Why? Because essentially they're lowering the bar here because they don't know what's going to happen next with the tariffs. And if the tariffs continue in China, well, yes, Shopify, Amazon, and Melly would be on the down move. But right now, you're seeing Shopify take a major hit off of this. And it's something to watch today because yesterday, I actually saw a major buy signal coming out of Amazon, right? Big buying coming out of Amazon is something to watch today. if Amazon can continue to lift and a stock that had earnings today, like Melly, can continue to lift, then I expect Shopify right back up. So even though this is down today, we'll see what happens if we continue to watch. What you can take a look at is Amazon and Melly to give you kind of an indicator to see if Shopify can turn things around. All right, let's continue going. We'll catch it in the chat. What's going on out there? Day trade with Tony. How we doing out there, guys? And is Trump speaking at 10 a.m. Eastern? You got it. That's exactly when he's speaking. And he'll be speaking about the UK deal. But some people are also talking that he's talking about another major deal, that he's talking about healthcare. Who was talking about the XLV yesterday and talking about how this could potentially be more matters to do with Medicare and Medicaid? Well, that's exactly what the rumors on the streets are talking about now. And hey, sometimes I honestly even surprise myself. I just felt like that's what could be what was the issue here. Of course, I didn't know exactly. And now that we're getting more of the rumors, that's why we're seeing stocks like Regeneron take such a big hit, right? Well, we'll see what happens there, guys. Keep an eye out there. Let's keep it going. Vic, how we doing? Jay Angelo in the house. It's good to see you guys this morning. It's always a beautiful day right here on Trade the Pool. Let's keep things going, guys. Let's go to the next headline here as we move over to App Lovin'. Who's loving the app? Let's take a look here. This has actually been one of the hot moves on the market. I continue to watch this thing. This thing was up to 5 I think these are the names that we should be watching. Names that were really hot in February and now have come down, maybe even in March, but have really come down with that April end of March and April move, right? So now that we're starting to get the lift here, we got to look for pullbacks, right? And that's what I'm going to be looking for. Can we attempt a breakdown of the support and then recover? So App Loving here will be a breakdown through the 340s and then recovering. We'll see if we can get that today. And that's very similar to the strategy that I'm looking to use, guys. App Loving here, $1.67 on the EPS versus $1.45. Revenues at 1.48. One thing that is a big positive in the earnings report was a selling of the gaming biz for $400 million in cash plus a 20% equity in Triple Dot. So we'll see what happens there. App Loving, hanging on here. Can it get the next move? Wait and find out. So what I would be looking for is an attempt back here. If you look at it on like maybe a 30-minute or something like that, you can kind of pull this down a little bit here so I can give you guys a little bit more of that price range here. Let me expand this here a little bit. All right, there you guys have it. That will make it a little bit easier to see. So what I'm looking for is a trend line approach, right? So this is looking good, but I needed to get back through this line and then recover back through. We'll see if it can get back towards the 340s and then start making the way towards 355 and higher. Let's go to the coffee out there because I need one of these. Can I get a Dutch Bro? Can I get a Dutch Bro out there? As of course, you guys know I'm a big fan of Dutch Bros. I've been a big fan and called this stock multiple times in the $30 spot. And I still remember the first run. I caught that nice run here. And I didn't catch this 30 run. It went from 30 to almost $90. And now we pulled back to 50. We've been holding in here. Earnings came in here at 14 cents versus an 11-cent estimate. Revenues at 355 million versus a 345 million estimate. And what really matters here is not necessarily just the outlook on that, guys. What matters to me is comparable sales. And if you take a look at the comparable sales, as long as that is continuing to go higher for me, in bros, we're looking good here, guys. We'll talk a little bit more about that report. Of course, this is one of the companies that I really love kind of looking into. We're seeing some raises of price targets. Dutch Bro projecting 2,029 shops by 2029 with a projection of 16% growth in 2025. So all good looking things here. I can take a look at the earnings presentation to kind of give us a little bit more about what happened in the comparable sales. I'll bring it in here just because, man, I'm such a big fan of the bros life, guys. We'll talk a little bit more about that here, but stick around, guys. I'll bring you guys that in a little bit here. It looks like that PDF is a little bit off there. But the comparable sales is what I was really looking to grab you guys here. Where's that PR here? There it is. All right, guys. I'm sorry about that, guys. Was just trying to pull up here the comparable sales. So same system shop sales growth of 4.7. That's exactly what you want to see. And company operated same stores grew 6.9. So the brand continues to resonate with our customers, giving confidence that our foundationary transaction drivers are working to propel us forward. And that's exactly what you guys want to be seeing, guys. So they opened 30 new shops, 25 which were company operated across 11 states. So I think this is very important as they continue to grow. I think you'll see more and more mentions that the coffee business has changed and Starbucks isn't so much in the lead as it used to be. We'll see what happens with Starbucks and Bros. Let's keep it going, guys. It's 8:58. We'll be joined by Michael Noss in just a few seconds here. We still got a couple more earnings reports to get through. The disaster stock today, Fortinet, big move down, guys. We'll see if this can bounce back, but this was down there towards 90 from above 105. So big hit here as their EPS guidance mostly in line, but the share's down 11% as the outlook underwhelms here. We'll see what happens with Fortinet. I don't trade this one, so I'll probably leave it on the sideline. Definitely a little bit of a disaster near the top. And now this looks like a huge head and shoulders pattern, right? This looks like the negative pattern that you don't want to see right now, which is a head and shoulders pattern. Of course, you guys can clearly see that left hand shoulder right here, right hand shoulder right here. And now you're starting to get your head action. Now you want to see if it breaks down towards the neck. We'll see if it gets into that spot. If it starts to kind of decline closer towards this 90, I'd be really concerned to start seeing that let go in Fortinet. All right, QSR. And one more here. We'll run through it. QSR actually bouncing a little bit, looking pretty good on the chart. The chart itself tells me to take a look at it. I don't know if I believe in it or believe in restaurants during this period that we expect consumer slowdown. But hey, this is not what QSR is saying here. It did miss on EPS and revenues. Popeyes, Tim Horton, and BK, all same store sales declined in Q1. So I don't know. The chart tells me bullish, but the action in the fundamentals and the sentiment out there doesn't look too hot. ARM is the last one I'll talk about. Definitely on the radar today for a little bit of a decline and then a pop. But it's already just popping, guys. It might just start to climb back the wall of worry here on ARM. We'll see what happens here as ARM beat Q4 estimates, but a soft Q1 guidance here, hitting it and shares down about 8% in the after hours. That's going to do it for the Sunrise Report. As you can see, action-packed indeed. Nothing more to talk about than a whole bunch of Trump talk and then a bunch of earnings. So we got so much to talk about. We can't even stop, guys. I could do this for about an hour just going through all the news that's out there. There's other earnings reports to go through. I hope you guys enjoy it. Like always, definitely you guys enjoy coming in here every morning and getting some news and getting you ready for the market. What I like to do is I do this first half an hour. Really, it's all about trying to give you guys information so that you guys don't have to go to 30 different pages on CNBC. At least you know what's going on. And from here, we can focus on watch lists and just look for price action to kind of lead us towards those trades, right? So let's get to the action. We'll see what's going on out there. It's time to start the show. So start that countdown. Let's get it going and let's get to the trading action. Wants 200, baby. You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at. What up out there, traders? How we doing? Let's get it started. Let's bring on Michael Noss. How we doing, my friend? It looks like the good old bull rally continues here as good old Trump making some deals out there. And if deals continue, man, we're going to 7,000 by the end of the year.
Why not? New all-time highs, right? Market normally goes up. I love listening to the perma bears cry. They're still like oh, we're gonna break new lows and wait. It's the one I love the
Hey,
best is just you wait and see. I've been hearing just you wait and see that the market was gonna collapse for like 25 years now. Like,
I mean, hey, it's just how it is sometimes. I mean, you can't blame them because of what is actually out there, right? The only thing you can do is put your blinders on. That's the
there's
thing, though. That's
always
the
something,
thing.
right? Like, I'm sure
That's the
you've
thing,
seen the
though,
reasons to
Michael. That
sell chart,
that's
right?
the thing, Michael. That's the thing that you do well. You put the blinders on, but not a lot of people can put the blinders on. I'll tell you guys, there's a reason why horses have it, and us as traders, we might need to have it also, right? And I think that's the important thing, right? Is that if you look to your left and right, you can be a lot more scared than just looking straight ahead and focusing on with the path in front of you, right? And I think that that's important to understand, guys, as all of us out there, right? Then this is the conundrum that I have a lot of the times because I do these shows, right? I talk about this stuff. I go on also media and talk about this stuff, right? This is why you have to have different hats. Trading is not necessarily the uh, outlook on macroeconomics using that to determine your trades. That's not what day trading is, especially, right? Maybe long term positioning, right? That style of trading, rotation, that style of trading you can do. But the truth is, there's always going to be some negativity in the market. And like you're bringing up here on the chart, some reasons to sell. And the truth
Mhm.
is, the market will always continue going higher until the US ends.
Yeah. And that's what, yeah, I love this chart for the perma bears, right? This is only 2010 to 2019. You can find ones that go all the way back to like 1950. And
Yeah.
there's, so that was a pretty calm period of time. If you think 2010 to 2019, other than, the whole Trump fighting J Pow and all that kind of stuff, there wasn't much on this chart. But all the way up, the media is going to tell you reasons to sell because that's what they get paid to do, right? They get paid to say,
But
imagine you turn on CNN one or CNBC one time, they go, everything's fine today. And then they just like fade to black. Like they can't do that, right? They got to find
yeah,
things. So,
yeah.
it's just
A-
one of
And there's
those,
still
right?
some concerns out there, right? I mean, there's a reason why the concern is out there, right? There is concern out there, right? There is slowing down, right? There is scaredness because of the tariffs. And there's a lot of things that could affect the earnings of companies. We saw the guidances did come down, right? But what does that do in the sense of the long run, right? Does that just lower the bar and gives these companies the ability to beat, right? I think that's another thing that we'll be talking about. And I think at this point, it's like I've mentioned, and I've mentioned it now for like 2 weeks. Where is the bad news, right? There still has not been bad news. Even
Hmm.
Jerome Powell's comments yesterday is not bad news because it's talk of potential stagflation, not that it's here now. This is why I think that this is why I talked about really early that the tariffs would take a long time to actually show up in the numbers. Thus, what do we need to do? We need to ride this momentum as much as we can right now and get ready because at some point I do expect a flipping for this year and for things to come back towards more of a break even year approach or negative year approach. Now we got to continue just riding the momentum the way it is until it
Yeah,
breaks.
we're already negative on the year, right? So yeah, we're down.
Yeah.
That's what people got to understand. Is we're still down 5% this year. We're still down 7% in the last 3 months. So this is if the market just spent the year here, that would be a great digestion year after those two massive years of gains, right?
Yeah.
You had a big, huge pop off the bottom. Then you had this kind of sideways consolidation, and we have to give a shout out to that breath thrust again, right? That hit right in this area and was so far a great time. I think from the breath thrust, we're up at 6-7% on that the market. If you took that, that was amazing. So just more and more signs of bullish, right? Breath improving, things hitting new highs. Yes, there'll always be bad stuff out there. It's part of the human condition to focus on it. But if you do so to the detriment of your trading, then you're screwed, right? There's always a reason, right? It's one of those like, do you have faith in capitalism? If not, Go to a communist country, have fun there, right? The idea behind capitalism is it will always find a way, right? It'll be different sectors, it'll be different stocks, it'll be different whatever's bad over
It'd
here
just
will
be
get good
change of
over
sentiment.
here.
That's just what it is. It changes sentiment. That's what happened there.
Well,
I don't
and
think if
you
the
got to
sentiment
remember,
changed,
well,
if
go
Trump
back.
never flipped, do you think that the markets would be where they're at right now?
Yeah, they'd figure a way, right? I just absolutely,
You
right?
think they
That
would be where they're at now?
not right now, but they would. The markets will figure out a way, right? It's you got to go back
That
and
I believe in. That I believe in. They'll
go back
figure a
20
way to
years ago.
stop the bleeding, right? They'll figure a way
Well,
to stop the bleeding, but
the top stocks 20 years ago weren't the top stocks 20 years before that, and they weren't the top stocks 20 years before that, and they weren't, right? And we got to remember that the markets, as we kind of refer to it, are just it's a momentum strategy. So the idea
yeah.
is if Apple goes bankrupt tomorrow, yeah, the SPY takes a 10% hit. Question is, who comes and replaces Apple, right? Because unless you think the whole world is going to stop and implode, and there's no more inflation anymore, because there has to, right? The market goes up partly because of inflation. People will never be willing to spend money on investing in new companies. Then, yeah, then the market will go down for a long period of time, right? I think a lot of people are just so conditioned to 2008 and the lost decade, but it's just the way it works, right? So the question is, do you think? Again, when this comment too, right, with a growing economy essentially just means growing inflation. So if you think no one's going to spend any more money, no one's going to invent any new technology, then yeah, put your head in the sand and don't think the market's going to go up. But if you think there's new technology on the horizon, if you think people are going to continue to invent and continue to consume, then eventually the market's going to go higher.
Yeah, I feel like the idea here is more to me, and I'm not always in the camp of just always staying bullish, but I don't think that's a wrong decision there, Michael, in the way that you have the approach there. I just think it's more about being flexible and understanding that there's going to be times when the markets are kind of really bearish, and understanding that at some point the flip always comes back to bullish. So I think that's
Mhm.
another thing to understand it. At some point, it's always going to flip back. It's just when. It's a matter of when. Usually
Yep.
that comes with sentiment change, right? Or the climbing the wall of worry, right? You hear this mentioned all the time, climbing the wall of worry. How do you climb the wall of worry? You change sentiment. And that's what happened that one day with the big green candle. That big green candle was the changing of everything. That green candle would pretty much wipe out to the left. So as long as we can stay now and building on that constructively, and that's exactly what we did that day, right? We had kind of a sideways candle. We pushed up. We couldn't break through the high. We went back down. We went kind of towards like a 61.8 retracement of that big bar, and then we just drove through that wall of worry. And as long as
Mhm.
the news doesn't change right now, as long as it stays positive, we can just continue to climb. And with deals,
Well,
we can continue to climb.
yeah, and then the whole question is always positioning, right? So
Yeah.
what happened right here is that the whole world was short and they have to cover quickly, right? The We got to remember that every week there is people are getting paid. The people that are getting paid are putting money into their 401ks, and that's going in the market. So if you think the market's going to go down for a long period of time, you're basically fighting that act or passive investing headwind. So this is
Yeah.
why even the best shorters in the world, they're in and they're out quick, right? And it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I always love the saying, right, that being a perma bear makes you sound smart, and then being a perma bull makes you money, right? Because eventually, and then the question is always bullish on what? Well, the whole world, even when the U.S. markets were going down, the rest of the world was doing great. So there's always somewhere out there to look at. And again, a lot of people just want to short all the time. But when you're short, generally speaking, those things bounce quick, right? If you look at all the kind of sell-offs through history, so you have to nail the top, and then you have to get out at the bottom, or right, you just simply wait for, like you're saying, the moment where things turn, right?
Yeah. And
So
and you just got to be a little bit of the understanding of always that at the end of the day, the markets will come up, and the world is not ending
mhm.
until the world ends. Then the markets will just go to zero from one day to the other. So it won't matter whoever's rich or not, because they all lost their money in one day anyways.
That's
So
what I the
that's just the
most amount of monies I've really ever made in the market was 2008, where when the world literally looked for a second like it was going to end. And I was in my early 20s at the time, so I just put everything I could, took out as much loans as I could. I dumped it all in the markets, and that was my mentality. I said, listen, we're at a point where if the world ends, I don't have to pay this money back. And if the world doesn't end, the market's going to recover. And it's if the world ends, none of this matters anyway. You better be good at growing potatoes, and you better live in the woods. That's the only thing that, right. So you
that's
better hope the market
why
goes up, right?
unless a solar flare comes and knocks out all electronics, we're gonna keep going up, guys. And I
Hmm.
agree with that sentence. As even as someone that likes to jump quickly onto the bearish side, I can tell you guys that that's just the way the market works, right? That's structure. That's just the way the market has been built on. And another thing is, don't forget, we can always do this artificial backing. And that's when I really adjusted, Michael, was in the pandemic when the Fed stepped in and saved the world, essentially. And,
Hmm.
and understanding that is something that every trader should understand. If we always have a backstop, don't worry. Stop worrying so much. Just find out where you can play. One of the things that I've learned is understanding more of those kind of mentalities for long term investing. 10% down means I'm coming in, right?
Hmm.
Just simply as that. Simply as that. You're going to get 10% down moves all the time. All the time. Corrections, they're called, right? And we need to be able to
Yep.
play them. How do we play corrections? We want to just start to average in, right? Start averaging in. Maybe it's at 10%, maybe it's at 15, then 20, then 30. If you just use that strategy, I think that's the best way to go about long-term investing. You just literally hold cash, you stack up cash, you stack up cash. Every time these moments happen, we load the boat, we load the boat, we load the boat, we load the boat. It's not a bad mentality, especially for long-term trading. Let's get to the action today, guys. I want to take a look at some charts. I want to take a look at some action right now. I have a huge watch list that we can watch today, Michael. I have some really good names that we can look at through there. I've been trying to really catch stocks that have outperforming the market here. So names like Hims, right? Names like Rigetti today really showing up. We're getting the quantum names really hot today, man. Really, really hot. And different names out there. You're showing Shopify. Is Shopify on your radar today, my friend?
I'm already in, so I just wanted to
Hey,
tell people that again. You can see I
I
love
like
this. I'm at the gym. I'm lifting. The bot's open again. I can't wait for. We've got more positive news on bot trading with Trade the Pool. Super excited for it. But yeah, my own account came through, popped here, and yeah, it got me in there. So I'm interested in this one. Going to the 2-day VWAP, but yeah, already in that. Got a bunch of names on the list actually
I
today that
like it. I like the
are
shop
interesting.
trade. Yeah, it didn't
Um,
make sense to me to hit on shop. I know the guidance is down, but I think that guidance is looking to lower the bar essentially.
mm,
Because small businesses are a little bit on edge right now, and majority of small businesses are on Shopify. So that's
yeah,
why
and
I think it was down, but I think it has no
the
real reason of being hit this hard.
and when it tapped VWAP twice, but was unable to break the lows after that reaction, kind of right
Perfect.
tells you that the reaction is probably a little bit too. They tap VWAP, they sell it back. So these are the shorts trying to push it down. They fail, and then they fail again,
Yeah.
and then we end
Yes.
up
I
going through.
Yeah, I love this. It's essentially kind of the rule of three, too, right? So you get that first drive down, right? A pop one, that's your bounce one. Then a
Hmm.
drive down two, a pop two, drive down three, a pop three, right? And after you get to that resistance strike three, you're looking to see if you break down that low, right? Do you go back to the low of the chart and really break it down? That would be the continuation of the pattern. But once you approach that resistance three again, where your green
Hmm.
bar, literally where you got in, like that first little tick, that's the good looking sign there. That's the break of the third resistance that should have held as a resistance and brought the stock back to support. But instead, you're now starting to squeeze that resistance and squeeze the shorts that are located there, that are
Yeah.
averaged in around that level. Then you want to start seeing that kind of flip, that bullish engulfing look. perfect looked here. I think it's looking great, man, for your trade. You might even get it right here before the bell.
I hope so. Yeah, the bot puts a target right out at the 2-day VWAP. I might take that a little quicker, and that'd be great because again, that was fully automated. Didn't have to do anything.
Another
Google,
thing
I think, is
helping is
interesting.
Melly and Amazon. Just to kind of mention on that one, Melly really good earnings, similar stock.
Yeah. Yeah, Google's super interesting here because obviously had that bad news that Apple's going to put AI in its Mac and just kind of completely fell apart, or in its browser. And as a Mac guy, I'd love that. Again, I don't go to Google anymore. It's ChatGPT or Perplexity for answers. So again, spending the whole morning above VWAP, it's retracing there. I think if that fails, it could come to test. The 2-day VWAP would just, again, not even nearly be the lowest of the day, but just playing kind of inside that range. QBTS, I don't know if you saw the shade I threw on you on Twitter because you had that video that you were looking to buy the quantum names, and I am looking to fade them. So
Yeah, I
we'll be
have no
interested
business
to see.
fading quantum names today, Michael. I will hit you on that one hard, man. I know the systems say it, and that's why you're doing it. But there's no way in hell I'd be shorting quantum names today. My outlook, just because I think this market's on a euphoria ride, and it's looking for names that are ripping higher, like Hims, like Palantir, and so this falls right into that category. QBTS had earnings today. Rigetti had earnings. IonQ had earnings, and they all weren't bad. This market has been catching comments that Trump mentioned on quantum. So people are watching these quantum names like a hawk. We'll see what happens. I just feel like the euphoria is on. And when I see these spike up on the scanner, they haven't gone away. They haven't gone back down to zero. Something tells me that too. If they're not going back down to zero or where they came from, something here might be actually digging in. And that's my big thing.
Yeah, and again, for me, these are just, it's what the system is saying. I will say the system is less accurate less accurate for these kind of low float crazy things, right? They're just not gonna, just FYI, generally works better on, more boring, kind of longer term, higher float, higher cap kind of names. We're looking at that. And Nvidia as well, but I already missed this one, right? Probably should have taken any one of those cells. Hims missed that as well, right? Because I was looking to actually buy this as it went back through because it held the 2-day VWAP here, and then looking like it's trying to get back through. So that's a miss, but maybe that can happen a little later. Then yeah, Shopify that we're already in, and that's about it. So not a huge
had
list.
some offering news on Hims, so that's why it took the hit. So doing a convertible offering there.
Yeah, so far getting bought back up. Right, it got into yesterday's kind of slop here, and then popped from there. So yeah, I just wanted to see because the 2-day VWAP lined up with this kind of slop and chop yesterday. So the idea was if that held, and then we got that reversal, that's kind of what we talked about yesterday to play these pullbacks, right? If they pull back and they hold the 2-day VWAP and get through, that's an interesting one because that's what we saw in the market yesterday when we took those initial trades. And God, look at that. Like I made a tweet about this yesterday. Look at this. This is why we say, right, stay away from FOMC day. This action is just obnoxious. There's probably so many futures traders that got blown out here yesterday, just hoping, we broke lows and then ripped back up and then broke highs and then sold back off and then broke lows again. It's crazy nightmare, right?
Yeah, not what you want to see at least. But looking around out there, man, there's a lot of momentum out there, man. I think this is a real stock pickers environment, right? And I think that you got to be watching for stocks that are doing well to continue doing well. Stocks that are not doing well, continue not doing well. I'm not looking for stocks that are doing bad to kind of all of a sudden start to get hot. So I can go through some of these names on the watch list today. I think it's very important to take a look at that. But yeah, there's a lot going on out there, guys. So let me run through some of these names really quickly here. I got you. I'm just going to run through just daily charts. And you guys, of course, just take a look at what stands out to you, right? And if anything looks good on the daily charts and you want to make some mentions, of course, Michael, jump in there. I'm going to do it by 5-day price trend to the market. So essentially what's been doing better in the last 5 days, right? Let me make this as big as I can because you guys don't care about positions right now. So of course, what leads the market in this watch list is HIMS. I mean, you could clearly see that, right? Like in the last 5 days, this has been hot, 30% move since that 43 call that we talked about on Monday. So crazy, crazy move there. AEVA. This is one that I found through my scanning, guys, that I had no idea was making this move. And it's in auto parts. We've had a lot of news come out about auto parts. This is not a bad name to watch. I have no idea why it's continuing the trend, but it's a really nice trend. Really nice move yesterday. And we'll see what happens with this one. Then Rigetti comes up on the scanner there. Really starting to do a little bit better here. And we'll see what happens with this one. Can it start to work back through 10? I think that's the big level to look for, is to strong volumes coming in here on 10. We'll see what happens. IonQ, of course, needs the lead. It's the leader. And it's pulled back to 20, but I thought it would come in back here towards like $10. It's not. It came back down towards 20. It's back to 30. And of course, it did kind of a bigger than 50% retracement. We'll see if it starts to actually just continue climbing back. That's IonQ. Bull, the one that we've talked about that could start having a good move. Good move 2 days in a row. Let's see if it can continue higher here.
I like
through
that.
the 18th.
I think that's, a lot of those you mentioned I'm already in. But Bull, I actually really do. I like, because it's gotten to the point where all of the shorts should be starting to cover, right? It did a round trip,
especially with this hourly candle. Yeah, you're starting to get worried.
It's like you made your money. If you're short this, you made your money. It went from 80 to like 15.
Even during this time, you started to cash, right? Like when you went from like 30 to like 15, somewhere in there you started to cash. And then
now
another thing that can tell you that is the volume pops here. So the volume pops down here. Don't tell me that someone was buying down here. It tells me more and more probably the final profit take, right? And then the buying really started back here when you start to see this flip through the 15. And then this move here yesterday is a strong sign for me. Big volume coming in on a stock that really, I mean, I don't think anybody's jumping in on a short here at 15 or 16 thinking this is going to zero. So, hey, bull on the radar, guys. ARM, of course, you have already talked about that one. QUBT, I'll run through that one. Snow and the cybersecurity names on the watch with CrowdStrike. I think these are definitely one to watch. The one that's leading is Zscaler. So that's the one that I'd keep an eye out for to see it just continue to lead. And PanW could get into some play with this, of course, as we start to see these do pushing. I just don't see PanW being that big or fast of a mover. So if you want something safe, I say PanW. If not, Snow and CrowdStrike could be ones that get the lift. And I'm also seeing that mention from like bigger trend traders on those cybersecurity names. AUR, of course, one name that I was trading yesterday. We'll see if that can continue to lift. MOS and CF is really interesting. This is in potash, right? And then it's an agricultural input. And man, I've talked about these, and look at the trend. The trend is just really staying hot. And when this thing has a tendency of trending, it can just continue just lifting. This thing in 2021 started to really lift, and then just continued to lift all the way into 70. I don't know where this drive is stopping, but it seems like every 9 EMA pullback seems like a nice area to buy here. We'll see what happens on MOS. Bros, and then this is the chart that I wanted to bring in here because I think you would think this one looks pretty too. What do you think about this KLAC?
What sector is that in? I've probably
That's
seen it a bunch.
Semiconductor equipment and materials. So it's more like a Lam Research, like an AMAT. But I think this has a really nice setup on the daily. Earnings came in just a couple of days ago, and it went sideways on that pattern, giving it the ability to just get the buy through the resistance here and really start to push. And what I like is the amount of volume that came in here prior to this, right? So, of course, this was on those down days, but the stock kind of recovered it really fast. Long-term trend line coming into play on the weekly. We'll see. Can this start to push back maybe towards 800? I'm not saying it needs to get to 900, but even a ride up to 800 wouldn't be a bad trend to maybe ride with all the moving averages below. We'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, I just put an AVWAP on the all-time highs there. And that looks pretty good.
Looks good.
That's right overhead. It's like 704. So you can see it hit that high the last kind of 2 times. This earnings
Yeah.
here, set an earnings or whatever spike, and then that spike right here. Now we're getting through. Now it's struggled. It's tried a couple times and failed. So this time might be the time. I like it. I like that trend line you drew too. So I think that's interesting as well.
Yeah,
That's a
interesting
good
name,
one.
of course, with the China news that we got with the AI exports restrictions coming off a little bit there. I think that's a really big move to watch today. Some people are saying that it wasn't that big of a reaction with semiconductors. There's something underneath there that I think the companies really understood. There's a reason why Nvidia came knocking and said, please don't let that come active, right? This was supposed to get activated on May 15th, and they made mentions in their earnings reports. So did AMD, about how Nvidia talked about how if they would be cut out of China because of these AI chips exports, that they would get ruined because of it. This is exactly that. They knocked on Trump's
Mhm.
door. They said, you do not want to do this, Trump. If you do this, we are going to see massive drops in revenue. Thus, one of the best companies in AI right now would get a big hit. But this is showing me sentiment change, Michael, that Trump is willing to accept that China can have some AI dominance with us, right? Because a little while there, he was like, I want to destroy China's AI. I do not want them to have access. And that was something that the Democrats and the Republicans actually believed in. There was actually something that they both were fighting for. I'm starting to see the Republicans pull out from that. And so if they pull out from that, if Trump pulls out from the I want to hit China so hard on AI, why isn't he willing to bend for trade and tariffs? I think that's what's telling us here. He's willing to bend and he's willing to do a deal. We'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, and I think it's one of those with he was probably explained that you can't stop them. Like there's nothing you can do. They already have DeepSeek and all that. You better believe they're gonna steal whatever kind of IP they want. What are you gonna do to stop them, kind of thing, right? It's a software. It's not really a hardware. Someone was asking about this W buy. It's very interesting. From $3 up to 13. Big round trip here. So it's an interesting chart. Not very actively traded, so you got to be careful there. And then in the pre-market, still not very actively traded. So I don't know if this is a good trading candidate. If you're buying it for whatever the earnings came out. Again, it had a massive spike. Just be careful, right? Because if you go and you look at like a 2-minute chart, you see a lot of gaps on the 2 minute, so you just got to be real careful. That looks fine. There's just going to be a lot of
All right.
gaps, right? So we are
Let's go,
open. Let's take
guys.
a look at the S&P 500, bleeding a little bit into the open, but we're still below these lows here. So VWAP overhead, big gap up. I hope it's not one of those days that everything interesting happened already, and we're just we're playing the chop, but it certainly could be. So we gotta pay a little
Woo-hoo.
attention to that.
Right out the gates, Rigetti getting the jump there towards $10. We'll see if it makes a jump back here, but nice little jump there, Rigetti, and quantum names. We'll see if those can continue going. And I'll be watching to see what happens there. QBTS up there almost to 9. So strong action out the gates there.
I dumped a bunch of my Spotify on, I'll go spot, shop, not Spotify, Shopify. So it's doing a little opening drive there. I kind of took that and was super happy with the trade. And well before it still has another dollar or so to get to the absolute target, but it just looked really, really good. So I just wanted to take some of that off the table there.
Archer kind of hanging in here. We'll see if I'm able to get a little bit of a VWAP long here. If I can get an entry on a pullback below VWAP. Doesn't look too bad there. Looking around at the scanners to see what's going on out there, guys. If you guys see anything, let me know.
Yeah, Google triggered right. See, this is why you need a kind of a bot, right? Triggered right off the open and then already pretty much sold down to target. I was dealing with my Shopify. I keep saying Spotify. I was keep dealing with my Shopify trade. So now we need to look for more setups. It's one of those now that I'm up so much, I'm going to reduce the risk on it and kind of trade everything way smaller now. I'm not going to give a good day, especially there's something freeing about. I didn't take that trade. Robot did. Well, it's chest day, and I'm looking at my phone. Interactive Brokers pops up and says, "Hey, you're in a trade."
Looking for a comeback on Bros. The only thing is the spread's a little wide here, but good strategy. I've been talking about this strategy. That's exactly what I'm seeing on Bros here. Just we'll see what happens there if I'm able to get an entry there. It did the undercut at the 59, recovery through the 60s. VWAP's at 59.90s, and need to come back to 60 though. It was fast through there.
Yeah, so SPY we're selling a little bit. We're chopping within the opening range. Especially the pre-market range. I'm not including this little tick into the pre-market range. This looks like a kind of errant tick. And then we just started ripping because of that news. But yeah, so far, first two 2-minute candles bearish. Next one's selling a little bit. So I'm watching this 564.50 lows. Just waiting for the bot to come in and yell at me.
All right, looking around out there, guys. Looking at the change from the open here. Bros leading the action there, 5% up from the open, guys. So Bros, big pullback, move right back up. Somebody get me a 911 espresso at Bros. That thing's crazy. It has like 7 shots of espresso. Let's go.
Jeez. Don't you guys ever learn? I hear in the States all the time that you can release a new caffeine drink and someone dies, like over and over and over. Was it Panera, and then it was Four Loko before that?
Dude, like I love those Panera chargers, man. I drink those before my CMT test, man. That thing had me freaking wired.
Yeah, no, thank you. We got limits here in Canada. I think it's
look at Bros,
like 180
man.
or 200. Yeah.
So this is the exact pattern, guys. This is the exact pattern, guys. So we want to see it on the 30-minute, or you can see it on whatever pattern you want there. Undercut and then rallying right back through the support. Through the VWAP is the buy, and then the move shouldn't even come back. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. It's just hard for me to get this right out the gates. I need to have it on my chart and watching it, or maybe getting a reaction off of there. But there was the move there on Bros. We'll see if it can continue.
All right, well, there's QBTS triggering to the short side, so I'm going to take that. Just stop at these highs. It went to challenge the pre-market high, failed. This will load up in a second, and then just did the little blue arrow alert. So the 2-day VWAP still not loading in. So getting some a little delayed action here on Trading View. Volatile, and there it is. So it's like $8, right? So just trying to 50 cent or so gain, risking 50 cents or so on it. Becomes just a 1-to-1 kind of scalp here. See if it retraces some of that range.
Tempest doing pretty well, guys. That was a hot stock of the day yesterday for me. I'm looking to see if we can get a resistance try. We haven't even gotten it. It's just been strong out the gates here, up to $60 now. I like it. It's just more, where do I get it?
Yeah, it's really just a buy and pray at that point. And that's probably not really the move.
Yeah, I like it, man. That thing is just hot, guys.
Yeah,
hot on
market high.
It did the 58 move too fast there too. Nice recovery there on the VWAP of 59. That's where I could have got in on that first pullback to 59, riding it up here towards the 60, 50s, and probably just selling it right there towards pre-market highs, right around here. 630s, 60-30s was that pre-market high. So it makes sense for it to wick right there, right? Someone sold right into that move. Looking around, I'm seeing some dragging action there on the SPY and the Qs, and it's going to be a big watch on the SPY where it got to, right? There's a big resistance on the SPY here where it came from, and there's the 568.45 area, but really it's the 568.38. It's from Friday's second high that I'm looking at to see if that acts as resistance. That's acting as resistance now. We'll see if we can get back towards there. That was kind of...
It'd be weird not to. It'd be just weird for it not to at least challenge, right? This kind of pre-market low, not to break that even by a tick.
Yeah,
so that's
some pressure, right? We need to put some pressure.
And then QBTS, it's working-ish. Not QBTS. Try that again. Yeah, so up a little tiny bit on it, not too much. Again, looking for a flush to 8. That's where the 2-day VWAP sits, and then under 8. From there, that's what we're looking for. Gets flushes to 8 and a little bit under 8. We're out and we move on, and that'll be 2 good ones. So then it's reducing the size again, and then kind of waiting again.
One really hot to watch for. What about the move in Ethereum, man? I had that feeling at some point Ethereum is going to get hot. It's getting hot right now, guys. ETHU on my scanner showing up there. So I'm watching it. It. Man,
So
I'm so annoyed.
Bitcoin.
I'm so annoyed I didn't buy this when it was like $2 on the split. The split price, it was like $22 and it did a 1 for 20 split. We could have got ETHU like at like $1 and we would be banking right now, man.
A lot of things came through there. So Bitcoin, I think the story that's causing Ethereum to move is flirting with 100K, like just really, really flirting with 100K. And, psychological numbers like that are pretty big. As soon as we lost 100K for a long time, we get back to it. After that, there's nothing to really look at but all-time highs. So we got to pay attention there, see if we end up getting through that. QBTS came so close to my exit. Downward bouncing here. Just because these things are crazy. I'll protect my entry for sure.
You got your support right there. I think you get the $8 hit. $8 hit seems to make sense there on QUBTS. So support undercut, and then we'll see if it rallies off of that.
Well, that's what I'm looking for, right? So this 797 is the AVWAP. I put my target just a little bit above $8 just in case, right? It hits $8 to the nose and then bounces. But like, come on, just give it to me.
Watching ETHU, I wanted to come back towards like 38.25s and comes back right here. I don't like it. I think it needs more pullback. It's a huge overnight gap, so it's just hard to come after it right here. All right, looking around on the scanners, let's look at the small ones there. I did have ASST on the radar. It's halted again, man. What a move in this thing. Michael, this is a parabolic mover within itself, and holy moly, man. This stock was a 59-cent stock just on Tuesday. Yeah. It's now a $6.44 stock. And I was just watching it this morning. This is the penny stocks that I tell you guys all the time. So there's very rare penny stocks that do this, but it's the same pattern over and over again. It's almost dumb of me to have not just traded it this morning. I wanted to buy this at $5 this morning. It made complete sense to buy it at $5 because the pattern just keeps repeating. It's literally the same pattern over and over. And so when it's the same pattern over and over, there's no reason not to play it the same way. It's literally been the same pattern for the
commercial advertising and marketing services. That's what these guys do.
That's it.
It's got to be AI. It's got to be AI something.
TTD has been pushing a little bit. We've been seeing that one kind of push a little bit
out of qubits. Just I heard the little British man yelling in my ear. So QBTS out. So 2 for 2 today with the system. So if it's gonna turn and rip from here, it's fine. It fell all the way to 780, so well through my target, well through my trigger there. So very, very happy with that one. I'll take that all day. It's continuing to sell. So oh geez, now it's down 750. So it's a 2 for 2. And again, I didn't have many on the list today, so I got that. The Google is probably going to be the miss of the day. It did exactly what you'd want it to do, almost to the 2-day VWAP. So we had Kenny on a couple days ago with the strategy, and it's been doing great. So what I've learned, just FYI for the people that's following me now, I've been doing this 3-4 months here, is this works great on earnings time. It just seems to do amazing during earnings season. We got Shopify on earnings, we got QBTS on earnings. Google wasn't earnings, but it was just a big event. And then it kind of sucks after earnings. which is fine, right? This is why multiple strategies are so important, which means I need to develop something else to keep it going. And then I have to also change expectations, right? Because part of my problem was it did so well on earnings. I expected that to continue all the time. And right, so there seems to be an ebb and flow where if there's no big earnings gaps to play off of, then there's nothing to do, right? So Shopify, I'm super glad I took that opening range spike and took the profit there, but it's getting close to re-triggering, so I might take another shot. But everything I do now is going to be dramatically reduced position size, just because it's 12 minutes into the day and I'm up quite nicely. So now is a try to add to the pile and don't mess it up. Don't walk away red today after such a good day. Someone's talking about Palantir. Full disclosure, I'm in Palantir. But yeah, nice little breakout here. Huge level. This was the earnings kind of shelf, what it dealt with around this kind of 115. Nice little break from there. Wow, look at that 2-minute chart.
Yeah, what I mentioned, right? The euphoria stocks, right? These are the ones in play right now, guys, and I think that that's exactly the names that you need to be watching. Euphoria names, right? So yesterday I was so annoyed that I didn't get Palantir at like the 108s. It did the same move that HIMS did, and so these are trading literally copycats of each other, guys. HIMS and Palantir, and they're not even in the same sector, not even
closely related
industry, but they're trading similar. What does that tell me? Momentum bots are in here.
So QBTS here. So maybe we can both, right? The long and the short thesis can work out. Look, came right to the 2-day VWAP, put in a bottoming tail after that, and now it's bouncing. So if we get a close back above VWAP, that might be an interesting play to take there. So Shopify re-triggered. So I'm gonna pop into some of that. And again, smaller risk, but risking to the low of the day, and then targeting back to the 2-day VWAP there. But yeah, so QBTS, perfect trigger, right? Triggered, sold, hit target right away. Bled under the VWAP for a bit, and now it's trying to bounce and hold. So QBTS might be an interesting one to see if it can get back up and through this area. If it gets back up and through that area, that could be an interesting trade to take.
All right, I'm liking bull here as it starts to recover. It does look interesting as it went down through towards the 16s and now can recover back to 17s. So just keeping that one on the radar.
SPY did end up undercutting that price we were talking about, but then just rallied right back through. So we undercut this kind of pre-market support zone. I'm basically going to say pre-market low because if we don't count this here, that again seems like a bad tick. That's pre-market low, so it undercut that, and it looks like it's rallying back up through. So, so far they're holding it, but again, I hope it's not, but it could be one of these. Like, just look at the candles over the last few days here on the daily chart. I think this is important to look at. Right? Gap up, tiny body, so really nothing happening. Gapping up, tiny body. Gap down, tiny body. Right, so tiny body after tiny body, and that what that means to us when you see a small body candle like that is just there was no trend to play in the market. It was all about, take your trade, move on with your life, move on to the next one, take the next trade, so on and so forth.
I'm liking this bull. I'm trying to get in here, but just looking to see that the SPY can also get 15-minute candle green. It's not doing it just yet right now, but we might test the bottom one more time. I think it is still a little early. It's 9:46. We'll see if we get the 9:45 continuation here. No entry there on bull. It just went to 1690s. Had a 1670 order out there between the spread. No fill. A little frustrating on that no fill. I'm going to cancel for right now. Tempest back up to the 60s. That's looking good too. HIMS is also looking good, guys. It's starting to drive there a little bit. CrowdStrike starting to rip there. That looks good there. That 426 rejection there looks really good there. That's going strong to the upside. Talked about how momentum traders are watching that thing. It's a nice little 9 EMA entrance here. could it go back towards 440s or fill the gap towards 434?
I think I might flip here and take QBTS long if we can get a trigger through VWAP there. I think I might take that.
Yeah, it's
shot.
a nice undercut of 8. Nice undercut of 8. Like I talked about, I thought that you could get that 8. You got that 8, and now it's coming back, right?
Yeah.
So
no, I got
profits
mine from it, right? I got mine. So now it's just, can I? Because if it is going to, it's like these fades are good and all, but the issue with them is always you're not.
You got to get out.
You
got to get out. You got to get out. That's just what it is, Michael. You got to get out. You got to take your money when
move on.
When the getting's good. When the getting's good. And if you're, another thing is like on those style trades, like if you're starting to realize, am I getting greedy here? You might be getting greedy, right? And so like that question itself should tell you something, right? This strategy is all about momentum going in your favor quickly and continuing in your favor. The moment the trend changes, you want to get out of the trade, right? And that's why it's a quick style day trade off of momentum jump. So essentially, that's what Michael's doing. He's shorting the momentum push because it's too fast, catching traders that are going long and jumping on the offer. And then all of a sudden, the stock just starts to pull back, right? We all know that could get bought back at support. So we want to be able to make sure that we're starting to take some profits on breakdowns of support, and also using something like maybe like a 9 EMA or a moving average short term to see that flip. And if it does happen, maybe getting out, right? Like QUBTS is literally hanging on the 9 EMA right now. Why? Because that's the momentum down continuation there, and something to take a look at. Shop till you drop.
Yeah,
we'll see if we get back up there.
Back in, right? Another green arrow alert. Right, took the profits here again. Risk and low of the day.
SPY break low, Q break low.
So got a little bit of a trade there, and then so Google. That was the miss of the day. That's why we want to systematize stuff, but it might be giving us another little bit of an entry here on that. Again, scalping small now, just kind of securing the profits that I got. So
healthcare just bleeding, guys, bleeding some more, guys. Biotechs are getting absolutely annihilated, man.
UNH is that? Yeah, not UNG. UNH must be leading that. Yeah. So then biotechs, XBI or IBB.
It's a lot of these smaller names down massively, like 6-7%. It's a lot of these smaller ones that's going to be hard to come after on the short side of things, right? And so, hey, we'll see what happens out there. But trust me, when you're seeing charts like ARGX, not a name you know often, but just look at the droppage from, looking like you're going to all-time highs, you're going to be a great stock, to all of a sudden in the gutter and getting slammed. So we'll see what happens.
BTS is starting to itching its way back up to VWAP here. So that's the next target is we're looking for an up and a 2-minute close above VWAP. Just the reason for that is just to not get wicked as much. Right? It certainly can still happen, but
I want to get in here, guys, but the problem is the SPYs just keep breaking the low and the Q keeps breaking the low. I can't do it. I can't be buying right now on these spots. We'll see what happens. I think I got to just give it the time move through 10. Wait till they start seeing the turn there. Don't want to be too early on the buy button today, and then all of a sudden just get the wash, and then the buy comes in during the afternoon. Of course, 10 a.m., we're getting Trump to talk. Maybe they're waiting for Trump to talk, right? Maybe they're waiting for Trump to talk.
I didn't
you didn't know? You didn't know, Michael?
I didn't know.
Man. Well,
I've got my
hit
Twitter
Michael.
so muted.
Everybody hit Michael for not listening to me this morning. We'll hit him. There you go, bro. You didn't watch?
It's like a selective hearing thing. Anytime someone says Trump, I'm just like, just fade out.
So
What's he
he's
chatting
gonna
about
be
now?
speaking about the UK deal, but some people are thinking that he's also announcing a deal that you and I kind of talked about yesterday. Some people are getting rumors out there about Medicaid and Medicare, and that's why health is coming down the way it is. So some people are thinking that some of that could be in the conversation, but really, what the announcement should be for is for UK and US trade deal, 10 a.m. Eastern. Trump should be
Ugh,
speaking. We'll see. We'll see.
ugh. Yeah.
And,
So
and,
now
and to
that,
me,
yeah,
that
that
tells
that
me
will
to watch
definitely
out.
move things. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll definitely be a. Anytime Trump speaks, we know it's going to be a market moving event. So yes, people might be waiting for that. They might be front running whatever they think he's going to happen. Because if he's going to, again, I don't quite understand how your insurance type thing works, but I know, right, XLV, if you look at the holdings, it's mostly these health insurance companies. So maybe what we're seeing here is we are seeing kind of a preemptive strike here
The
on,
UNH just tells you it all, man. If this thing can't
yeah,
catch a grip here, it ain't ever going to catch a grip right now, guys. I know that a lot of people are thinking, but UNH can't go to zero. But can it? I don't
probably
know,
not
man.
zero, but it can always, I wouldn't could drop another 50% from highs, right? It's almost down 50% from all-time highs. So it's done it before, it could do it again, right?
And this tells us that we got to be a little bit careful. Look at you know what's a telling sign? Look at Cardinal Health,
Really.
CAH, a stock at all-time highs, now doing a key reversal.
Mm,
And it's in medical distribution. You don't want to see these on these names, right? This is a stock that's literally kicking it out the game. The EPS changed from like $1.93 to $2.35. This is doing as good as it's ever done on EPS, and now it's starting to get hit here. Pretty hard hit too, from 158 to 152.
So if it ends up not being this, right? That's so now, right? This is the part of trading that's always interesting. I think the other side. So if the
Oh,
market is right, so say he comes out and he talks about the trade deal, and he doesn't say anything about healthcare at all. Is that a buy the news event, right? Is that a potential reversal there if everyone's expecting A and then B happens? Could be. QBTS is again trying again on VWAP, trying to get through. So this will be a fairly wide. This will be a fairly wide stop on a trade like this. It would be, you're risking low a day, so you're talking, like $1 stop. But the beauty of something like this is that if it reverses, and if this ends up what the daily candle looks like, and it goes from a red candle to a green candle after coming back in and testing these prior highs, maybe it does something stupid and tries to take a shot at highs here. So I'm watching this one closely. 1 minute left in the candle, so any amount of time, and it might be one of those things that you end up taking a little bit of a shot on. At least that's the way I'm looking at it.
all right, guys. Tempest AI, guys. Money Mitch talking about how that earnings report was a complete fake out to the downside. And look at Tempest now, up to 61.24, approaching daily highs, ripping out of it. Big volume coming in yesterday. I mean, I honestly, this is as good as a swing trade as I wish I would have.
Mhm.
So look at that trade right there with the good volume, undercutting yesterday's support through the 50, now at 61.50. So if you got that yesterday, you're up 11 points. Not a bad move there in Tempest AI, guys. And I think this is just getting started, at least this move. So, of course, this is the Nancy Pelosi pick. I will say
You
that.
don't fade the goat, right?
You don't fade the goat, man. Forget
She's
Warren Buffett. There's a new goat in town. Nancy, she's
oh
getting old
Nancy.
fast. She needs to join Berkshire. All right, we'll see what happens there. Can Bull get back above
Bull
17? That's one that I'm watching there, guys. One
shops
that's
moving here.
pushing right back to the highs, Ethereum. So Bitcoin staying hot here, guys. Staying hot. We'll see what happens. CrowdStrike, look at that one.
10% today.
Remember I talked about CrowdStrike could be going right back towards 434, filling the gap. We're on our way. We're on our way. These names are good today, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm missing here moves, but I'm waiting for Trump. Waiting for the Trump man to speak here. Hims is trying to make that recovery, guys. It's holding on the VWAP right now. We'll see if it makes it. Can these Bitcoin names actually make a move today? We'll see. Mara, just keeping an eye on it. Nothing that I like there. QUBT starting to come back.
Yeah, I got no interest in the miners. Yes, QB. So Shopify is moving here. So it's to the point now where I'm going to kind of mostly protect an entry. And then QBTS actually just entered there. So that did the same thing. Undercut VWAP, ripped back through. Yeah, there goes Memphis.
Oh my God. Why am I not trading this thing? It's because I'm calling it too good. If I go in it, it's gonna just completely change.
Just wait, right? Soon you're just gonna make the calls. You're gonna feed the calls into a robot. You're gonna walk away.
This was a good one. This was another undercut and rally. The strategy we've been talking about. So support in the morning, right around that 58. You can see it on the 15-minute, right? So the support right around this, going towards the next layer, right? Yesterday's action. Moved into yesterday's action, undercutting, and then rallying back off of good earnings, right? Earnings reports are helping these trade also. So that's another thing that I've noticed, Michael. These are really good off of earnings too. So we got to be watching for that to be a play that we can jump on, right? So you have the VWAP short strategy there. Well, maybe we work out this psychology breakdown and recovery on the VWAP for certain earnings. So we'll see what happens there. Tempest AI continuing. Let's go to the White House in just a minute or two. We'll be getting some Trump action. I'm going to try to get the speech so that we can hear the good old president speak here.
Crazy. A question, does my system consider the SPY or the Qs? Not for the printing of the arrows and the alerts, but it's definitely something I will keep an eye on, right? If the market's tanking and I'm long a bunch of things, then I'll probably get out as well, right?
Tesla's looking good today. I can't take any of these trades though until the good old Trump starts speaking. You know, it's one that's holding up that I didn't expect. GPUS, guys. This thing's been holding up really well. I mean, I can tell you right now, I don't think Michael and I would have bet on this one.
No,
we probably would have bet.
Was 6 quintillion. Well, and it will it will have its day, right? It will be back down at some point, but that's why these things are so hard to short, because it's one of those. Does it go to 30 before it goes back down? Who knows, right? Same with what Webull you had up there, Newsmax, all these things bled back down, like we knew they would. But you'd be a maniac just to short because you thought, this is another perfect example, right? This probably isn't an actual $6 stock anymore, but you could get murdered trying to short the thing, right? On the way up, you could just get killed. So
yeah, I think this is one that I'll look for it to pop into an up hole, and then I'm going to look to maybe get short on this thing. But this would be,
you need a level to play off of on those, right? For sure.
Yeah. You wait for the first breakdown, and then you're like, okay, now give me a pop to get into, right? Because then now I have these levels at the top to go off of, right? So I know where my risk needs to be. The risk needs to be where you rejected to keep going, right? And so how can I get somewhere in here to short where at least it makes sense off of that high, right? That's the only way that I would go about a short like this. And what would I need to see? I would need to see the volume just dying out too. So as that volume comes back towards the upside, I don't want to see big volume. I want to see low volume. When it gets up to a level where I think the shorts could come back in, I want to see high volume and a quick dump right back down. We'll see what happens if that does work out for ASST. And just to mention another one out there, Zkin. Right now moving a little bit. This is a $1.75 stock, the steel stock, kind of hanging in there.
That's an interesting one.
Look at the volume there, guys. The steel stock with 33 million shares today, hanging in here. Could make a run to 2. I'm not saying it's
really
a big
range,
but interesting setup. At least the setup to me if I just viewed it technically, try not to think about what the stock was, it's a pretty good setup, right? So we'll see what happens there. And Zkin, multiple tries, up one, down one, up two, down two, up three. And this fake out to the downside where it shakes out people, it held really well on this support. So now I look for the VWAP to hold here, 164, and take out the highs to the left, 179. So as long as VWAP holds there, I think you're looking good for maybe an attempted break back towards this after our high, which was 204. We'll see what happens there. All right, it's time for Trump time. Let's go find Trump. Let's see what he's saying out there.
Just an update. My Shopify trade is doing okay.
As long as he doesn't come out like the Pope.
Could you imagine if he dressed up just for the memes? Like,
dude,
hilarious.
I cannot even believe he did that, man. What I couldn't believe was the White House retweeting it.
Oh, well, they don't have a say in the matter, right? It's like one of those, you tweet my crazy stuff or I'm gonna find someone who does, right?
It's just crazy for me though to actually put that out there.
Yeah, just
if you thought the trolling was bad on the internet, if our president trolls, get ready, guys. I mean, the trolling is about to go to a whole another level. Oh yeah, man, it's crazy out there. That's crazy.
It's grinding higher on Shopify. That's good. Taking a look at the SPY here. Back above the pre-market low. So we undercut it. We rallied a bit. We're kind of in like a holding pattern. We're not up or down really that much on the day at all. Feels like this is a wait and see mode. QBTS starting to move a little bit. So again, I'm long that one. Probably just put my stop. Set a low of the day. I'll just put it right under 8. If we lose $8 again, it's probably low. But yeah, grinding back through VWAP. So again, in there, stop under 8. Very rare, but fun to do if you can get both sides. Right, you can make money for the long, you make money for the short.
Oh, come on, man! I hate when price jumps right when I'm going in, man. I tried to get in there on QUBT. We'll see if I can get a little pullback here and jump in. I don't mind it at all off the 760s. I like Rigetti also, but because Rigetti's further down away from the VWAP, so I'm trying to get stocks that are a little bit away there, but it's just going away from me. Price action just not wanting to fill right now. QUBT, I had it right there at the 750s. It's now starting to come back through the 760s. We'll see what happens. Bull looks also good here. It's starting to recover that 1650s right back above VWAP. A lot of support underneath it at that 1650s. A lot of undercuts underneath that. Of course, we don't know what Trump's going to say here that could flip this trade, but at least the setups are there out there. Look at Tempest AI. Doesn't want to stop, man. Oh, that's going to be a tough one to look back at. Hims doesn't want to stop, right? Palantir doesn't want to stop, man. The euphoria's on, so why not these quantum names, right? We'll see what happens. Look at this AUR that I've been looking at for a while now. This one's looking good too. Pushing Archer. It just looks like growth names, really pushing strong. No entry there. We'll see what happens. I'm pulling off. We'll see what happens with the news out there.
The QBTS still grinding a little bit higher. Shopify struggling just a little bit. What is old Trumpo late? Is that what's not?
I'm looking, man. I'm looking. I'm not getting much out there.
I just went on stock twits too, just to look here, just in case. Sometimes they usually have that kind of listed higher.
Nothing out right now.
Yeah, nothing. Just do Trump speaking today. Trump says US UK deal being announced today is full and comprehensive. Live updates. That's the BBC. All right, I got the BBC open. I've got to mute it, but I've got it open. I'll ping you if he starts to I see the man himself, because right now it's just some British dude talking about something.
I'm taking a shot on QUBT there. We'll see what happens there. Just took a little small one off the VWAP here. Going to risk very small here, about $30 to see if it can start to make the move here. We'll see what happens.
We're both in then. Yeah, so Trump to announce new U.S. So yeah, so we'll see. He's I got the BBC open there. I'll just keep it in the corner of my screen. When I see him, I'll show it you, but I'll give you the link here too. I'll do it in WhatsApp. This BBC is usually pretty good to not ping people about stuff, man.
Yeah, it literally says it right here. Trump is set to make the announcement from the Oval Office at 10 a.m. Eastern. Literally says it to the key. He's just late. He's pulling a Biden nap.
Yeah. Well, they're probably finishing the deal right now.
The intern's getting yelled at right now.
I was about to say it's like
print,
the whole
print it.
Yeah. Like
get over here now. The intern is late with the
homework,
print.
And he's
man, he's yelling. He's yelling in the White House, the Oval Office. He has the door open right now. Where is that idiot kid with the printout? We'll see what happens here, guys. Definitely, market's not going anywhere either. I think it's kind of holding off here. Look at the SPY tanking, though. 563, hard hit down. SPY hasn't made it back to the VWAP today at all, guys. That's a little sign of concern for me here going into this report and this talk with Trump, but I don't know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, so QBTS up a bit, and then Shopify grinding. Oh, almost. I'll go here while we wait. So there's the Shopify position. So again, the first alert was right here. I took that one. I just got out on the opening kind of craziness just to take it. And then when alerted back here, I took it again. So now stop is certainly break even. And then the target is 42.38. So it's getting very close there. Just a great day so far, knock on wood. 100% winners, so I can't complain. I wish they were all like that, but certainly they won't be. So we just, when we get a good one, we smile to the trading gods, and we take it, right?
Trying to see a close back above 173 for snow here. Looks good. Looks good. We'll see what happens. The SPY and the Qs are going down pretty fast. Didn't expect that one, so maybe we're getting that decline, that pullback day coming into play a little bit. ZVIA, one of the top movers of the day, up there towards 3 and really holding the 9 EMA well here. Could break 3 again here. ZVIA just bringing in another small one to look at. We've been seeing a lot of these go opening move, 5 minutes sideways consolidation, and then volume come back in for the rip.
A lot of people love to take that second move, right? So a lot of people wait for that because you're not going to make nearly as much as the first move, but you got like such a solid level to play against that.
Runs probably you know if it breaks 273 here, you got to be out anyways. So hey, there you go. At least you have better risk to return there.
So there's the shop exit right there. So again, from VWAP to VWAP, just another good one for the trades. It's getting to the point now where these trades should stop. So I'm actually just going to go in and remove all of the alerts like that entirely. So I don't see those anymore. It's good.
Snow trying to come around here. It doesn't look too bad there. I'm keeping an eye on Snow. It's been a really hot move right back. And this is one of the names that I feel like for a long time never got the love that a lot of investors feel like it deserves. So I'm watching this one long term, really. This is more of like a swing alert long term to look at. I know how many investors really love this company. And it's in an interesting space with AI, with cybersecurity, right? It's definitely something to watch, I think.
Yeah, QBTS tried and then did a little fail there. QBTS. tried to break out there again. Good looking price action, continuing to grind higher, but struggling on the way up.
If Snell could ever break 200, I think that's a sign for like the major breakout long term. We'll see what happens.
Still no Trumpo on the BBC. It just says soon.
Yeah, and SPY keeps dropping too. So I'm probably going to get out of my QUBTS here. It's literally at break even here. It's just not doing anything. So I'm going to go ahead and get out there, guys. I'm out. Just took a haircut there. And just going to wait for the move. Wait for my trade. Trying to be a little bit more patient today about taking these trades, just because the Qs haven't and the SPY haven't showed one sign that it wants to show me strength today. So in a moment or two, if Trump can flip that, then that can take it. A lot of stocks and momentum names going higher. What happened to the big boys? Why are we dragging so much? I think that's what we need to take a look at, take a little peek into. We'll take a look at that. Let's go see what the big boys are doing. Apple and Nvidia driving down. Apple driving down there, guys. Apple is heading towards potentially back towards the lows, guys. I know that there's a lot of stocks that are making their way back. This is why I keep bringing up the stock pickers environment. At the end of the day, Apple is in a world of trouble, and that's not going away anytime soon. Whether, people think that tariff talks is going away and things like that, just take a look at Apple. It is not looking sexy here, as it's starting to drop pretty fast here. It's been on 4 or 5 days of straight red action, and it's dropping fast here. Nvidia is dropping fast, but that's still looking good for me because of the AI chip kind of restrictions that came off. But it's still on the pullback, right? It's right off the support. We'll see if it breaks the 117 here and goes lower. Q's pretty low there. SPY still there. But we're just filling in the action from yesterday and that gap, right? So we could still see some buyers step back in here. We'll see what happens with Trump. Good old Trumpy Trump. Where you at?
If he ever shows up, man, come on. Stop napping.
Dude, he's on the nap, bro. He's on the nap.
I don't blame you. I'm all right with doing a little nap, but
should I pull in some let's see what CNBC is talking about. Let's see if they expect him to come on right now. I can pull it up. I have CNBC.
Yeah, I've got the BBC going up here. 73,000 people viewing. It's been, the viewer numbers have been cranking up as I've been watching. Yeah, so they'll have them. Right.
Yeah, QUBT still holding on here. Could make the run. Could make the breakout above the 763. Your QBTS could run there, guys. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too hesitant today, but we'll see what happens. The patterns are there. I'm just noticing that there's going to be an overall event here in a second, and that's why I'm trying to stay on the sideline. But are the setups there? I think there's tons of setups right now. All right, let's hear what the squawk on the street is focusing on. Let me see what they're focusing on here.
Yeah, we got...
They're talking about ARM holding, so they don't expect Trump coming on anytime soon.
They're... well, and it's one of those, they probably got a lot of filler programming until dude comes up. But yeah, SPY's just leaking a little bit, right? Just
they have ARM CEO talking demand there. So maybe take a look to see if ARM's making a move on this.
ARM. Nope. It's really, really range bound today.
I actually like it here on the recovery of the VWAP. I actually like that. And we'll see what happens. You'd have to risk off the 115 here. But it could push right back up and then start going back to 121, 120s. We'll see what happens there. Still on the sideline. Yo, Trump, man, you said 10 a.m. Don't lie to me. There's always lies, man. They give us lies all the time.
Yeah, just tight.
MLGO. We'll take a look at that. That's not something that I'd like. Yeah, not touching it with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. And if you look at the daily charts, not even back up in yesterday's range, just a bleeding stock. So yeah, nothing going on the
ASST could
street.
get a little spike there. It's starting to slow down enough to maybe get the spike. We'll see if it does get the spike here. Look at that 540. As soon as I say it, inverse hammer candle closes there, and the next candle opens and push. Here it comes. We'll see how far it can push here. But does look like a potential short to me through the 6. We'll see if it gets to that level. You can see it rejected some level there at 560. That was the VWAP, and it rejected it fast there. We'll see if it just goes to 5 here. Look at that drop. Boom. Running into some selling real quickly. There goes to 5. It got rejected on that VWAP fast there, man. I'm not shorting here at 5 because I feel like that's really chasing the action, and that's easily how you get a spike back to 6, and then next thing you know, you full point on real quick. So we'll see what happens. If this one does break down, it could just be an all-day fade back through 482s. So I'm looking for more of that 480 to be that sign where it really lets go, not the 5 touch. The 5 touch could still be a little fake out. And we went to
SPY is
still holding on though.
Yeah, it put in a little bottoming tail in the 2 minutes, bouncing back, it's coming back to where it broke down from though at this kind of 564. So we'll see what happens if we get there, and do we get a little reversal from that price. The world's most important risk on indicator for our coin is holding up nicely though in all this, so might mean
I'm waiting, man. They don't want to come on, man. I have them there. They're ready to go, but they don't want to come on.
They're ready. What a lazy dude. Come on, man. Like, hurry up. Oh, see, now on the BBC, they're showing his true social.
Oh, this is crazy. How did they do this? They block out the image there. How does it block out the image? You can't see anything there, right? It's crazy. I have the image. Like,
let me see.
They're pretty good. Whatever blocker Spectrum's using to show the screen.
They don't want it restreamed.
Yeah, because this is Spectrum. I have Spectrum like live TV that I can just jump into. So I grabbed it there, but that's interesting to see it.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's working.
Nice blocker there. Whatever they're using.
Yeah, good for them. But yeah, they're doing the Liberation Day stuff. They're pulling up his greatest hits. They're running out of content to fill. They're like, come on, man.
There's a snow break, guys. I might take this. This would be a learning trade for sure for me, but I just feel like this is a really nice setup on the 15-minute recovery, right? So you still the undercut of the 172, the recovery of the VWAP and holding here. Now I have to risk off of this low on the 15, 172.60. But it's not too bad. It's less than $1 risk for this move that could come back to 175, right? So I kind of like this look on snow.
No, it's yeah, interesting look. But yeah, SPY, a couple minutes of bounce. Now it's kind of struggling at where it broke down from. It feels like it's a holding pattern.
Did the UK turn around on Trump and say, forget your deal? You talk too much about this deal.
Yeah, I still think there's some intern getting whipped right now as he's
somebody's getting yelled at.
Probably they found like a spelling mistake or something in it, and they have to go back and rewrite the whole thing and print it off. And
all right, guys, I'm gonna try to get an entry here on the snow trade to see what happens here. Bull looks good too. If it can finally get back above 17, I'd still keep that one on the radar, guys.
Bulls I'm watching in the swing trading world, right? Again, yeah, I've talked to a couple fundamental traders that I respect, right? And obviously not my thing. And they're saying they think it's around that it's,
like
a fair values. Yeah, like 20, mid-20s.
30. It's a mid cap. It's a mid cap. I don't expect it to be a large cap either, but I don't think it's going to be a small cap either, right?
Yeah, just like and then well, like anything, it needs now that it's public, it's like you need a couple quarters of show us what you're doing, right? Again, it fits in the same universe as Robinhood, so it should probably have some sympathy with that. Oh, nice little push up here in the SPY. QBTS is looking great just technically here. It's holding up against those prior highs. So
yeah, this was the one that I was going for, QUBT, but similar charts.
yeah, well,
Right, come back too,
the
right?
sector is going to move pretty similarly there.
Yeah, they're a little off. Like I said, like this one's lagging, right? Like Rigetti's lagging a little bit more. You see the other two, they're by on top of VWAP, right? Well, look, Rigetti's right below VWAP. So just something to note, right? IonQ is the other one. This is the one that I think matters more than all of them. If I see IonQ just ripping through the highs, I would almost immediately try to go for the other ones. Still set up out here. A lot of traps still, and I think this is just has to do with Trump. This is just has to do with traders just right now. They were traded the opening move, and now they're just like, where are you, Trump? Where are you?
Yeah, well, is all of this the fact that as the report is getting delayed, does it mean that this will be kind of sell the news event? Because I think that's a very logical thought to have. It's like, okay, now that we're getting trade deals and trade deals getting signed, trade deals are going away, meetings are happening. Does it end up being a sell the news event? Like, so say there's a China deal over the weekend, and that gets announced. Is that a sell the news moment? Is it like, okay, everyone was kind of buying in anticipation of a deal, and now that there is a deal,
I just want to cry. Right? It just keeps going. It keeps going and going.
The power of swing trading, right?
Look at that. That Tempest, man. I have a feeling we're going to look back. And when that thing's at 9,100, I'm going to be looking back at really kicking somebody. But we'll see what happens out there. This is just how it goes sometimes, guys. I remember when I was mentioning that trade off the 43 spot, a recovery. It's just been an absolute monster there on Tempest. We'll see what happens. Hims, how's Hims doing? Hanging out here? Hanging out. Could still decline a little bit today. I feel like it's a little bit heavy there, but we'll see what happens. I think it has more to do with the Trump.
Yeah, it feels like, we sold off a little bit, we bounced a little bit, we hit VWAP, and then we failed again. It feels like the moments before like an FOMC meeting or something where yeah, it feels like we're holding. It feels like everyone's waiting and like with bated breath. Like when is this dude actually going to come out and rant? He's now like a half hour late. What are you doing, man? Like, come on, come say something. Let's get going. And then it feels like the market will be kind of free to pick a direction, right? Because if they don't, now that we've gapped up on this deal, if they even come out and say, oh, we need to figure something out, there's another negotiation to take place or whatever it is, then it's going to just tank back down, you'd imagine, right? The thing that was priced in is going to disappear.
Oh, man, the Bros was a good buy today too, man. I should have gone after it. It was a really nice trade there on that undercut of the 58 towards right back up. So it's up towards 64 now. It's up 9% from the open. And the other major stock that I was watching, Tempest, up 8%, almost 9% now from the open, guys. Definitely this should have been the stock I've been trading here. And then Hims hanging out there, that AEVA that I've talked about that for some reason doesn't want to stop. It doesn't want to stop. It's continuing today back to 952. QBTS, of course, looking good here. Now starting to really push towards the highs. That's why I feel like the quantum names can really rip today. There's QBTS now almost to 9 there. So
I'm in. I'm liking it.
QUBT could start to rip there. IonQ could start to rip there. We'll see what happens with the quantum names here. Definitely on the radar and pushing strong here. We'll see what happens on other ones out there too. ETHU trying to break through the 39. So Clean Spark starting to get going here. Another one that's, of course, in the gutter, but could start coming back with this move of Bitcoin going back above 100,000. Ethereum doing well. I think it's time to look at the miners. I think it's time, guys. I think that if I was able to take some swings on the swing account right now, wouldn't mind to maybe risk off this 8 off of this clean spark to see if it can get back towards 10, $1.50 up for 50 cents down. It's not seem too bad there for me. We'll see what happens on these names. Mara, another name that I'm watching here, another name that I think has a nice inverse head and shoulders pattern. Could go right back to the resistance of 15. And even the scammer MicroStrategy is going. It's going strong, man. It's going strong.
So the
Snow's still hanging in there, man. Still pushing, still looking good there off that 173. I didn't take it, but I'm just waiting for the man himself, the good old Trumpster. Where is he at?
Still waiting, man. So they're still, and you can see it in the reporters' eyes. They're like, "What the hell do we talk about? This dude's supposed to be out here now." Yeah, QBTS is challenging today's high and the pre-market high. So there's a big area in this kind of $9 zone. So again, talking my bags here, but I hope we break through on a nice little spike through, which we're getting here. It will definitely be taken kind of half off from. So I'm in from 840. It's over $9. So I'm just looking to hit the button to sell half here, just to take that profit and then kind of move my stop up under VWAP, and then I might just let this go. So yeah, I just took off half there. Just might let this go for the rest of the day. You know, it's either going to come back down and break VWAP, and then it'll still be a good trade regardless. Just feels it. We all know it's these quantum stocks can get stupid when they do, right? They can just go nuts. So feels like I need to hold for some stupidity. So I'll just, while we're waiting for dude, I'll just summarize that trade quickly. And it's one of those, I'm in that mode where like I don't want to press my luck. Everything's been working so well. I feel like the next trade I'm going to take is gonna slap me. But yeah, QBTS. So we shorted on this initial kind of spike down, which was the plan, right? Spends the whole pre-market above VWAP, breaks down, 2-minute close, full VWAP, took a short there, quickly out a couple minutes later as we hit the 2-day VWAP. And then I noticed the big spike from 2-day VWAP and then grinding back up. So the reason I kind of liked it is because you look at the daily chart now, well, it came in and it filled the gap to this prior resistance, held that, and then reversed higher. So now it's kind of like, okay, there's people buying the dip after the earnings report, which is what you want to see, right? Is that people were waiting for it to dip and then they were looking to get involved there. So as it came back through VWAP, I took my buy right there. The initial stop below the 2-day VWAP below $8. Again, now my stop's just sitting right below this area right here. And then we'll just see what happens, right? If this rips like a couple bucks, then it'll be an amazing day. Otherwise, it's still going to be a pretty nice day. Now the BBC is literally just showing a static shot of the White House. That's it. That's all they got. They ran out of content. So now they're just staring at the White House saying, come on, man. Someone start talking there.
We'll see what happens with Trump here. Will he come out and give some conversation?
Should, man.
It's full and comprehensive, but he can't bring it out.
What a world. Come on, man. You took it. Is he napping? Yeah. Is he on the can? Is that what's going on? So he's got a little stage fright. He's on the throne waiting for his big chat.
Yeah, knew he shouldn't have had that breakfast burrito this morning. I'm gonna give it to the chef at the White House while he's late. That breakfast burrito, man, they get you, man. They get you. All right, what's going on, guys? Do you guys trade Goon coin? All I'll say is I'll give that one to Michael.
I don't even want to look, but yeah, there's probably something out there, right? There's a coin for everything. Qubit is starting to or D-Wave QBTS is starting to go here. So now we're up to 950.
Yeah, I should have traded it. I haven't crapped.
We're going. So again, I'm in a hands-off mode. What I might do is
I got off of it, so that's It'll probably keep going, man.
Right? Do like a 15-minute moving average or something like that, and look for a close below that zone. But yeah, this one's going great. Shows how, right, again, very rare to the not to have a bias, right? Came in, took my short, made my money, took my long, right? Making money on that too, and just pure break even stop now, right? So it's like it's either gonna rip today. I don't know what I'll put a target out like below 10. 10's like a nice solid whole number, and if we get to that, that'll be a very, very good trade. But yeah, to not have an all day bias, because it can come in, you can give you your trade, and then it can go, right?
That's it. That's it out there, guys. It's just a big slowdown though here. The momentum names are flying high though, and wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? You know what's flying higher?
Tempest. Yeah.
Oh, Tempest.
Wonder if our boy Steve still has some. Spy's trying to break back through VWAP.
10% move today, guys. 10% move today. Let alone from yesterday's drop. You know what that is now? 32% in less than 2 days, guys. That's the kind of trade that I'm talking about, man. That's the kind of trade that put me on the map for swing trading. That's the type of trade that gave me a 32% year in swing trading. So we'll keep looking for those trades, guys. We'll keep getting after them. He went golfing.
Yeah,
Rando might be right. Rando might be right.
Wouldn't that, again, everything about this, as someone who doesn't live in the country, so I'm completely unaffected by a lot of this stuff, I find it all hilarious, because I would not, if they like shot to it and it's like he's literally going to make this announcement between holes, I don't think that would surprise anybody. Right? They go, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. It's like, I don't know where we'll catch up to him. He's almost done. It's taking a little longer to do a hole 4. We're gonna meet him at the tee of a hole 5 here, and then like you're just gonna stop by and go, yeah, we got a deal. And get, more importantly, watch this shot. Yeah, grind higher on the SPY. We're back through the opening price here. So the candle is now green on the day. So a little red to green style move there, which is encouraging.
Zscaler getting off the bottom. That's one of the hot stocks of the market right now. And that looks good there. Holding the 230 all day on the 15, the 231 cut down. Now we're coming back to the 232s. Zscaler looking really nice there, guys. And a bunch of these names in the software space, cybersecurity names starting to get hot. Pan W starting to bounce there. They're looking good there. We'll see what happens. Looking around to see what else.
XLV. Big reversal in XLV today. If you look at the intraday chart, so I wonder if are we getting to the bad news is priced in moment. Nice pop
look
there.
At the move back in Regeneron. Right, one of the number one hit down names.
UNH still can't get going.
Oh, that's not going anywhere, man.
It's so much bad news in that.
Yeah, it's just a lot. It's dragging it. Clean Spark, though, continuing. That looks good here off this 860s, guys. If it can keep holding, it can start making a run to 9. Doesn't look too bad. 40 cents higher, maybe risking off the resistance right now, about 850s. 12-cent risk, 40 cents higher. Doesn't look too bad there. We'll see what happens. Mara also looking pretty decent there. Those are continuing. I'm still looking for the man himself, the man that we've been looking for 35 minutes here. Where the hell is he? No one can give me an answer. What the hell is going on?
The reporters I'm watching here on the BBC, they look like sweaty. Like they're just like all nervous. Or like, what? You know, we planned X amount of content, and then we were gonna listen to him, and then react to what he said.
Oh, that's why CNBC's moving towards talking about Ukraine Parliament deal and doing a review right now. They're doing a news update. That's what they're calling it. This is more like hey, we have nothing to talk about right now. Nothing that we had planned. So figure it out.
They probably bake in like a okay, Casey's 10 minutes late. Let's do this thing for 10 minutes. They didn't expect he's like 40 minutes late at this point.
Yeah, there's a
So
little bit,
yeah,
little
they
bit
got
of a
nothing.
little bit of a switch there. Let's just say that. Bull broke down a little bit there, guys. The SPY has been going nowhere in the intraday, and I think that's one of the things that we need to keep watching, guys. It's just the moments are happening overnight, guys. Oh, you know it's real when CNBC is doing the news update, and then they just immediately just go to another commercial break.
Yeah. Wow.
They're like,
Hood.
throw the commercials, throw the commercials. Q's going
Hood
down
doing
here, guys.
amazing today.
Q's going down here. This is why I don't know, man. Something tells me like it's either that the market's waiting for the Trump announcement or that something's negative coming, because the way that the reaction is right now, I mean, man, SPY can't get off. But the momentum trades just keep going. Look at Palantir. Look at that.
Yeah,
That's a big
Palantir looking amazing. Robinhood looking great. Fantastic on Robinhood.
Hood. Yeah, the Hood is going one to
Hood.
watch, guys.
Hims.
Trader that I follow closely is in Hood and has a big position in Hood. So definitely take a look into it, guys. If you guys like Hood, you might like to follow my man Todd Gordon. If you guys like Todd Gordon, check him out. I
Elliott
need to bring him
Wavner.
on here. I could bring him on anytime. It's just he's a busy man. I feel like I'm taking him up a lot of time, but I talk to Todd all the time. Someone that I follow very closely. We talk even baseball sometimes, so that just goes to tell you how much I have some good insights there. And he has 1,019 shares at 50.26, and it's 3.6% of the portfolio, and that was put up 22 hours ago. And the chart I felt was explained really well here, guys. So here's a tweet here. I retweeted it because I thought it was a really nice looking position too. Breakout zone towards 50 and 52, right? Inverse head and shoulders pattern looks pretty decent there, guys. I like this one. Earnings last week beating on the top and bottom line, increased customer deposits, continued relative strength in crypto markets. Volatility in the equity markets is decreasing, of course, that we've been seeing that. And there you guys have it. Good looking fundamentals with a good looking chart, a nice story, volume coming in, all the things that you want to see. What I talk about sometimes is using the multiple variables to determine your trade thesis. Clear example here.
Big, Todd, big Elliott Wave dude.
Yeah, and I actually love the outlook. I can't do it like he does. I mean, he's just a little bit further into it than I am, but hey, I think it's really fun to watch the waves, man. You got another waves. I always like how he also focuses on the rotation, kind of where things are kind of moving. I forgot what that chart's called.
RRG, relative rotation.
Yeah, and I think that's important, guys. There's one thing that I've noticed where the edge is in a lot of the market. It's understanding rotation, man. That's where you can still have edge against the big boys, right? You want to have edge. You want to be in a place where the big boys need a long time to rotate out, so still leaves us some time in between there to make some money. What's going on out there, guys?
Now that everyone's waiting for Trump, but yeah, the rotation thing is awesome because it just shows you're riding the coattails of the big guys, right? You're trying to. That's what all we're trying to do is like, let me figure out what these guys are doing, and I'll try to get on board with them in some way, shape, or form, right?
It's serious when they started changing the title on CNBC. They're now saying this hour President Trump is expected to make an announcement. Your this hour is running out though, CNBC. You have about 20 minutes left.
Yeah, BBC upcoming news conference due shortly. No, due 21 minutes ago. Not to get morbid, but dude's really old, right? Should we
Really,
be,
really old.
you know? Hopefully he's okay, I guess, is QBTS pulling back just a little bit after making that high. Glad I took out half because it just gives me the comfort of just I'll just sit here. Whatever happens, happens, right? Because yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a wiggly one, if nothing else. Yeah, so SPY pulling in a little bit. It hit that VWAP. I talked about how it was trying to push through that VWAP. Came right back down. Qs didn't even get through the VWAP. They just kind of bumped their head off it and failed. So,
Oh, guys, officially, that's it. I don't know why the hell I was trading today. I should have just traded Tempest. It's up 10.23%. It doesn't stop. Holy
and
moly.
the more you watch it, the less of a chance that it will actually stop too. So,
Just grinding on the 90 EMA all day long. Grinding higher. Hey, well, at least I put it out early enough for traders to jump on that. I hope somebody nailed that trade.
mm-hmm.
And I was talking about it right off the report. I was like, man, this is one you don't want to miss out on, guys. Big push up there.
Yeah. Yeah, SPY just the whole market, and I think people are it feels like just looking at my Twitter feed and everything. People are like starting to get nervous. They're like, where the hell is he? What's going on? Is the deal still on? Like, there's TM finally pulling back a bit. I see on your screen. So
maybe Trump's coming on.
maybe I got the BBC here.
SPY rejected VWAP. We finally made it back there, and we keep rejecting. It seems to me like we just can't go up today on the overall market. It just seems like that. That's just what I'm seeing right there. That's a little bit of sign of concern for me, seeing that we're getting the dash for crash on certain names, right? Euphoria names going higher usually can mean a little bit of some topping action. SPY heavy here. Still no Trump. They brought on an analyst to try to talk some conversation there on CNBC. And trust me, Mona doesn't look like she was ready to come on anytime soon. They just pushed her up. They're like, you were supposed to come on at 11. We're bringing you on now.
Wonder coin. Looking at coin, and I was just reading some news there that they're buying Debit, which is a pretty old crypto option exchange. So they were kind of the OGs. They were doing it before there was any products out there that had options on it. So we're about to get, I don't know if they're buying that, or we're about to get like fart coin options. We can go like super degen on it.
Good Lord, please don't do that. Please, guys, can we have some type of regulation?
No, man, all in.
No,
crazier and crazier and crazier.
No.
Let's get
Guys,
what that guy say?
I think it doesn't help the market, man. Like, I'm all about helping retail traders, not hurting them, not giving them more things to destroy them.
Yeah, ways to hang themselves.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's like so many times where, like, yes, a lot of things get fought for, but they don't get fought for the mass, the majority that has lower money than what the big boys are doing, right? Like, I just think sometimes we get fooled so easily. We're like, no commission. That sounds freaking awesome. No, it's not awesome. Trust me. It was a negative for retail traders. In the long run, I don't care if a trade costs me $5, $10, $20, right? What matters is if the trade is going to work or not work, right? A lot of times, if the trade works, it's going to cover that $20 that you paid for the fees. Now, if the trade doesn't work, it's going to ruin you. And yeah, you cost some fees, right? But the truth of the matter, it limits the trading that goes on. When I think the markets got more complicated is the increased volume in the markets. It's not decreasing volume, it's increasing volume, and thus making it harder and harder to catch the moves. At least that's what I feel the commissions really did, free commissions. I don't think it was a good thing. I think it was a negative in the long run. And we can't do nothing about it. And we're going to go to 24-hour markets soon. And that's going to make things even worse on the case of computers only trading, essentially.
Yes.
I
love it. Give me
24 hours. I personally would have wished they cut out the computers. They restricted them further. But that's just the way that I feel. Because at the end of the day, computers, a game of computers is tough, man. It's a tough world to live in, but that's the world we live in right now. And we'll see what happens. Rigetti's starting to get back above VWAP. That's a good sign for those quantum names that gets above VWAP. Now let's see if Trump can come out and QBTS can really rip off, right? So QUBTS seems like the leader right now. Laggards is QUBT and Rigetti. The one that's lagging a little bit further is IonQ. So if you want the leader that's normally leading, it's actually lagging the furthest behind. So that could be a way to catch up if you see a big move to the upside. We'll see what happens here with the market. The SPY kind of hanging out here. Trump still nowhere to be found. He's nowhere to be found. That's for sure. And I love it because no one has an answer. No one has an answer out there right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Is I'm just scrolling the.
No one has an answer. You can scroll the streets. Everyone's just mouth open. Like, where the hell did Trump go?
Yeah, like, come on. Promise us. It's what? Jeez, man, you're real late. Like, give me something here. Very interesting. The high on Bitcoin here, 99,897 today. Came right up to about that 100K and sold off. And there's a lot of people looking at like these liquidation trackers and seeing that if we get to over 100,000, there's going to be a few $1 billion worth of shorts that get liquidated. So that could be interesting for Coinbase, Robinhood, that kind of stuff that we're looking at. So is he, do I even go on the True Social and try to see if he's hanging out?
He's not. He's nowhere to be found. Even the spies at the White House can't tell me. I don't know, man. He's nowhere to be found. This could be bad news, guys, if he's nowhere to be found. I don't think it's good news that he's nowhere to be found.
Oh, if they don't have a deal, just the hype that people were looking for with the deal, it would.
The markets could just kapow off of that headline, right? I mean, dude, it's serious. CNBC's struggling. They're going to any and anybody. They're going to the people that are on the desk that are just hanging out. They're not supposed to be on. Trust me, because I know where they're sitting. I've been in the New York Stock Exchange. I know where they sit to hang out. The CNBC guys, when they're just looking at their computers and like kind of going through their stock stuff, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're literally scratching. Don't know what the hell to put. So they're talking about consumer spending up in April. So hey, there you have it. Let's see what happens out there. I like the purple tie though. Purple tie, you don't see that often. 2 people with purple ties on CNBC today. Uh-oh.
Fancy.
You don't see purple ties too often, guys. Dude, the market, man, lately it's just been like they're in the intraday, man. It's like you get like these 1 or 2 trades, and then there's some that are working, but we're talking probably like 10, 15 stocks out of the 500 in the S&P. I mean,
you gotta. That's why you gotta pick your names. You gotta stick with your names. You gotta take those opening range moves because, they'll be. It just dries up quick. Now I think a lot of it's just been bad luck.
Look at this thing, man. There's no way this thing's that high, dude. I feel like shorting this thing. Oh, good Lord. Where's it at?
According to the financial juice, is he now?
All right, let's take a little one here. I can't help myself. I'm short a little bit of that ASST here. I'm gonna risk like $30 here just to see what happens. See if this just starts to tumble. I think it has no business being at $7 here. So I'm cracking off the 9 EMA there, risking on to the 750s. I don't think it gets back there to 8. Could risk all the way up there, but there's no point in me risking that much. Let's see if this just really starts to just crumble, goes to a down halt. It did go back to that up halt that I talked about towards 6, and it shot through that 6 back there towards 7 and 8. And this stock is up like I can't even imagine now. Where's it at? It's at 1,084%.
Jesus. Yeah, just
1,084, bro.
Yeah, for the person saying that they say Trump speaking, I don't see it.
Yeah, there he's on, guys.
Oh, is he?
He's on. Let me bring in. Let me see if I can get the audio in for us. Just give me 1 second here. Let me know if you hear this when I put it on the screen here. Can you hear him speaking?
Yep.
We appreciate that. They'll also be fast tracking American goods through.
Sorry, putting it louder.
Go to a very, very quick form of approval, and there won't be.
You could tell they were struggling to put this together.
Both ways. The final details are being written up in the coming weeks. We'll have it all.
Oh, they're coming in the coming weeks.
The actual deal is a very conclusive one. We think just about everything's been approved. So good for both countries. And we'll also receive new market access for American chemicals, machinery, and many other industrial products that weren't allowed. And they'll end up getting products that they'll be able to price, and if they like them better and we make great products, they'll be buying those products, but they were not available in the UK. Furthermore, in a historic step, the deal includes plans that will bring the United Kingdom into the economic security alignment with the United States. That's the first of its kind. So we have a big economic security
down
blanket.
On this, guys.
They're
not liking what Trump's saying.
We feel very, very
because
comfortable
he faked us. He said that there was a deal. This is not really a deal.
A lot of people say our greatest ally. I don't want to insult people
jumping here, guys. I'm
saying that, but I can say it's certainly one of our greatest, and right at the top. And they're the first one we're talking about. And by the way, we have many meetings planned today and tomorrow, and every country wants to be making deals. And we have a meeting, as you know, Scott will be going over to Switzerland on Saturday, and that'll be very.
What is he even talking about?
A little bit of the VXX here.
Be written up in the following week.
That the economic security is national security, and we'll be working together as allies to ensure that we have a strong industrial base, appropriate.
Oh, this feels like a short.
Protections for key
I don't take just willy-nilly trades like that, but yeah, if I would, this feels like a short.
And things necessary for military. You know, we used to build ships and other things literally at a level that nobody's ever seen, and we haven't. We've eased up, and I would say that the UK certainly eased up, but now we're going to be uneasing both, and we work together. Once again, I want to thank Prime Minister Starmer. He's been terrific for his partnership in this matter. The special relationship and external bond. It's really an external and an internal bond between our two countries will soon be stronger than ever before. And we really do. We have a great relationship. I want to just say that the representatives of UK have been so professional.
Comprehensive deal.
It's been an honor doing
this. He's not.
And in particular, the Prime Minister.
He's not saying anything. He's not saying anything.
In weeks.
Mr. Prime Minister, please take it away.
Thank you, Mr. President, Donald. And this is a really fantastic, historic day in which we can announce this deal between our two great countries. And I think it's a real tribute to the history that we have of working so closely together. Can I pay tribute, Donald, to your negotiating team as well?
Oh, man. This right now is like the meme of all memes. I just put it out, guys. It's this right here.
Team as well. Two negotiating teams have worked at pace now.
No deal
for a number of weeks to bring in this deal today. Really important deal. This is going to
deal, man.
Between
close that thing. No deal.
Countries. It's going to
I'm not hitting that red button.
Jobs, but create jobs opening market access.
Oh, man.
And as you say, Donald, the timing
Let's see what happens, guys.
couldn't be more apt, because not only was it 80 years ago today,
Broke new intraday lows there on the market. Definitely didn't like the initial reaction is no bueno on no deal.
The UK and the US stood together as the closest of allies. And Donald, I think
it's very positive
because
rhetoric.
About this time of day,
I guess that's we can take that as a good thing. I guess good rhetoric.
In Europe, and that led to great celebrations across Europe, across America. But
This guy's trying to bring up Winston Churchill and compare it to something that they announced in World War II.
Putting bunting up, going up to the palace, and so to be able to announce this great deal on the same day, 80 years forward.
80 years forward. Now we're announcing it on the same day that the epic deal by Churchill was announced.
The UK and the US standing side by side, I think, is incredibly important and makes this truly historic.
Oh, man.
That close relationship has endured over those 80 years. As you know, Donald, when it comes to defense and security and intelligence sharing, of course, there are no two countries that are closer than our two countries. And now we take this into new and important territory by adding trade and the economy to the closeness of our
I always love
relationship.
the standing around, the cabinet just standing behind him. They always just look like zombies, like we have nothing to say. We cannot talk right now. We are just going to sit here and smile.
Well, and it'd be last thing you want to do is like pick your nose or yawn or something like that and get
and
out,
Jay Vance that I've met in real life. I've met him. He is so awkward in real life. He is so awkward standing there. He looks he looks like a child that just didn't get let in on recess there. He's just standing on the side. Do we gotta wait here? Can I speak?
National security or national security.
The hand gestures, man. Hand gestures give away everything, guys. Hands dead at the side are not a good gesture to give, guys. Hands with hands together is what you kind of want to see. That's hope and strength, right? There's a reason why Trump always does this hand gesture where he gives like this move like that and he points to you, things like that. You don't realize how much hands and gestures like that get looked into. Another thing right now, Trump is leaned back with hands underneath the desk. It's a negative outlook to look at that. Hands above the desk would mean he's more happy about the moment. Right? So he's not being animate about the deal. He's not being super exciting looking. Right? Small things like that weigh in.
Continued, maybe a better relationship than ever before. You know, I don't know if the media knows, but the U.S. and U.K. have been working for years to try and make a deal, and it never quite got there.
Yeah.
It did with this prime minister. So I want to just congratulate you.
Well, with this president, this prime minister, we've managed to achieve what many people have tried to achieve for many years. Right. And I'm really pleased, and it feels completely historic and on a special 80-year anniversary as well. So,
all right, guys, looking for this to break 6250s, and if it starts to break 6250, I can add on this, but I'm not going to add until I see the continued reaction.
When I think when they shut up, I think that'll be very interesting because it's like everyone's waiting. Are they actually going to say anything? So I think if the phone hangs up and there's no deal, and then everyone gets kicked out of the White House, I think that'll be it. Because they're probably going to do questions next, and the questions will be like trying to figure it out. Is there a deal?
Trump's trying to hang up. Prime Minister will hang up. There you go. He just hung up. Everybody clap. Everybody clap.
Why don't I do this? Why don't I have our Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, give a little description of the deal?
He's passing on the buck. He said, Lutnick, I'll put you up to the chopping block.
About it also, maybe. So you get a pretty equal. I think it's a very It's just been a deal that was
It's a great
we
deal.
thought very complicated. It
comprehensive.
became very simple. It's opening up the
The
country
best
that we
deal.
didn't have the
The
kind
best
of
deal.
Best deal
I would have
ever.
thought. I was surprised. I think it's why the deal never got done before.
A deal that would have never
We've been
gotten
working on
done if
this
it
deal
wasn't for me
25 years.
and this prime
And,
minister.
we got it done, and we got it done. Really,
Well,
gonna
and it's
be-
just like, in the depths of the crash,
You could
you know,
go and
we
then,
were saying this the whole time.
somebody else, you may
At
have,
some point,
you'll picture
he's
whoever-
just going to find an excuse to say this thing's amazing, everything's great, the tariffs are done, and it will, knowing that most people don't look into, right? They don't look into anything.
UK is the 6th largest economy in the world.
So
and
right
the
there,
4th
if you guys
largest
are watching the
that we
speech,
export to.
watch how
right?
Ludwig
it's
is
a
acting and
huge
using his
market,
hands,
a
right?
top
Trying to be
10 market.
excited about the
You
deal.
remember
Look
Liberation
at Trump
Day,
still.
They were
How does
at
he look?
10%
Very
because we have balanced
nonchalant,
trade with the UK,
relaxed,
right? They
hands
say they have
down.
a surplus, but of course that counts.
All right. So no deal. No
Balanced
deal
trade.
for nothing.
How do you open up a
Or I
market?
think we can.
Balanced trade. People think it's
So
impossible.
what do you think, right? As we wrap up, Mitch, what
What are we looking for? For me, I'm waiting for them all to stop talking,
Yeah,
and then we
I'm
figure out
good
what the
too.
move
I'm gonna
is.
bring it down. We'll see what happens, guys, with
You know.
this, right? I mean, at the end of the day, let's just keep things simple, right? We got a deal, but we didn't get specifics. That's what
Mhm.
happened there. There's still a deal. Don't get us twisted. We're not saying that there's no deal, not really no deal, but we're not getting specifics, and that's what everyone wanted to hear. That's what he said would happen. That's the problem. He keeps saying that some things are going to happen. He says it, he does it, and then when we get to the actual event, it's nowhere near what he's saying. Another thing that I think is something to start taking in is that the distrust in what he's saying is starting to happen. I think you're going to start to see people that won't believe that the deals are going to actually close or that certain things are going to be done, right? Because when you keep saying something and not doing what you're saying, at some point, the trust starts to fall from the public. And that's just normal. That's just the regular thing. That's like if I was always telling you something and then doing something else, right? The trust falls like anybody, right? And I think that today was a day that we were really looking to get excited about this deal. A lot of investors trying to be excited about something, right? They're looking to something to attach themselves so that they can keep this run going. This, I don't think, was it. I think that really was intended to happen was a deal with India. That hasn't been closed here. So they just went for the next deal. This is not a sexy deal in the long run, right? How much trade and tariffs do we exchange with the UK? What product do you know is made in the UK that we're bringing over here to the United States? What product? Name one. Anybody in the chat.
Good bangers and mash, right? I'll take
You get
a good.
what I mean? You get what I mean, Michael? There's not much there. So this was just the deal that he could come out with. He needed to come out with some deal because everyone was knocking on that door like, Trump, you keep saying there's deals and deals and deals. Where are the deals? Where are the deals? This is one. So it still puts a good push to the positive side, guys. I don't want it to seem so negative here either. It's a positive push. The best part, no negative in the market. As long as we can continue on that journey, just continuing with positive, even if it's like this where it's not that much positive, but it's still viewed as a positive, we can continue to climb higher. We'll see if we do get some type of pullback in the market today. I think it could pull back. I don't think it's going to be a massive pullback off of this. I think what we run into is we just end the day barely red. Maybe coming back into 482s on the Qs or something like that. But I don't expect a big fall on this. It's not really a no deal. It's just more that we'll get a little bit upset because there's no specifics of the deal. And we're looking to get specifics so that we can start to see how he's really approaching the tariff battle, right? What is he giving up? What is UK giving in, right? Those types of things, what we want to hear, what we want to see underneath, right? And of course, Switzerland talk still out there. So there's going to be some type of positive conversation that comes out of that, right? A lot of people are thinking that this is just going to be a de-escalation talk, like, hey, stop bashing us, we'll stop bashing you. And there's no deal that's going to be done there. So we'll see what happens here, guys. I'm taking the bet on the VXX. I'm risking off the 6102s, and we'll see what happens with the market. Any last words for those traders out there, Michael?
No, just again, nothing happened today, so just expect chop, right? Until
I will say though,
happens.
good trading, Michael. Good trading yourself, my friend. You did really well today, guys.
I'll take it. I'm definitely turning off the screens for the rest of the day and work on more systems.
Hey, you did it well, my friend, today. And what I really liked is that you had the mentality of doing it that way. Once you did it, you didn't fight that mentality. You said, hey, that's what I wanted to do today. I got it. I'm not going to go ahead and act like a hero. I'm going to take my win and keep on moving, because that's the way the markets work. You have to be willing to also understand and take your little wins, pat yourself on the back, and keep on moving. That's what the market's about a lot of the times, guys. We'll see you guys back on Monday, guys. Stay safe out there. It's a hard market, and this Friday, it's going to be a hard one. So be careful out there, traders. We'll see you guys back on Monday.